So the first thing you need to do is trust God. Because the good news is whatever state you are in, God can show you how to get out of it. You know, the Bible says if anyone lacks wisdom, ask of God and he'll give it to you. So even if you are so deep in debt that you run out of all money in the first week of the month, and then you've got 3 weeks of bread and water before you get paid, even if you're in that state, there is still a way to get out. So here are some steps. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7. And it says, "The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is the slave to the lender." Or some scriptures say the borrower is a servant to the lender. So you have to choose, do I want to be in slavery or do I want to be in control of my life? And the more you borrow, the less power you have, because more and more of you is owned by someone else. Can you imagine if you got paid in cash and on your way home you got mugged and somebody stole all your money and you ended up arriving at home with nothing? The next month you got paid in cash again, and on your way home the same person that mugged you a month before was waiting for you again. And again he held you down, took your money off you, and you ended up going home with nothing. You would feel that this is an intolerable situation, and you would either call the police or change your route or do some drastic action to avoid the repetition of that event. But some of us end up in that same position deliberately, because we gradually increase our borrowing. Credit cards, store cards, buy now, pay later, until we get to the point where the automatic repayments coming off our account are equal to our total earnings. So our money comes in, and the standing orders come in and take all our money, and we end up with nothing. And then we have created the same tyrant that enslaves us. You see, when you go to the shops, and they say, you don't need to pay now, just take a store card, and you get 20% discount. Now that's good, because you can take a store card, get 20% discount, pay off the store card and close it. But the way they make money is out of people's habits. And what people will do is they will take the store card, get a 20% discount, and they'll say, oh, I've got 30 days to pay. So the money that they would have used to pay for that good stays on their account. And then they forget that next month they've got to pay this back. And look at their account, oh, I've still got some money left. And so they spend it on something else. So as a result of postponing that payment and forgetting that it's postponed, you end up spending more than you would have done had you not taken that store card. That's how they make the money. And then by the end of the month, you think, well, I don't need to pay all of it, because they say, just pay the minimum payment. And then in the small print, 29% interest. It was very small print. And so you think, oh, I'll pay it next month. I'll just pay £5 towards it. And gradually, it starts to increase. Now, if you do that a few times in different shops, and you take on a few credit cards, when the banks offer you credit cards, they're not offering you anything. They're actually offering you a chain. And they say, will you kindly put this chain around your neck, please, so that we can control you. So they give you the credit card, and you feel enriched, because you have this credit card that has a credit limit of, £5,000. But the moment you start using it, they then gradually get control of your life. Because now they have standing orders coming into your account that take your income away before you get a chance to spend it. And if you carry on like that, eventually the credit cards and the store cards will be equivalent to your total income, and you have got yourself into bondage. And when it comes in, standing orders come out, thank you very much, I'll have that money, and you've got nothing to live on.
And then they increase the amount available to you as well.
And then they offer you more. And the thing about credit is that if you have poor credit and you have difficulty making repayments, they will charge you more interest. And you think to yourself, well, that's so unfair. Those who can afford it are paying low interest, and those who can't afford to make repayments pay a high interest. But there's a reason why they do that. It's because the people who are less able to pay are more likely to default on their payments. So they increase the interest so they can get as much as possible out of you as quickly as possible before you fall into default. But when you add all these things together, they then take away the money that you just worked for. And then you end up with a self-defeating way of living, because you're earning today to pay for yesterday, and nothing left to pay for today or tomorrow. So the rich becomes a ruler over the poor. So if you do not want to be in slavery, then you have to start denying yourself the opportunity of spending beyond your means, and cut these credit cards up and put them away. There are certain benefits of credit cards, but most people never get the benefits. For example, if you buy something on credit card and the company goes bankrupt and they never send you the goods, your credit card company will refund you for the goods that never arrived. So you have protection if you're buying online with a credit card, which is good if you repay the credit card before the interest begins to be charged. But they make their money because most people don't do that. They spread it out and spend the money on something else. Budgeting. Now, we read the scripture yesterday, Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 30. Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 30. It says, "Which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish it, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, 'This man began to build and was not able to finish.'" When you get paid, as I mentioned yesterday, it is important to add up all the things you need to pay out and add up all the money that has come in. Now, it may be an unpleasant activity to do that, because you may realize at the beginning of the month, what you have to pay out is already more than what you've got in. And if you paid it all off, you're going to starve for 30 days. So this is what you need to do. You still need to add up all that you have to pay out and add up what you have coming in. And if the money that is paid out is greater than the money that is come in, don't despair, because there is a method of coping. What you have to do is communicate with all the people you owe money to and offer to pay them less per month so that you can have some money to live. Now, credit card companies and loan companies would rather get a lower amount per month than a missed payment. So 9 times out of 10, if you negotiate with them, they will allow you to pay a lower payment. And then you are back in control. So you say, when you do your budget, you need to set aside what you need to live on. This is what I need to buy food with. I need to pay my rent or my mortgage with this. And all the other bills that are coming in, you need to negotiate and say, right, I can't afford to pay them all because there's not enough money left. So I won't just miss a payment, or I won't just pay less. I will speak to them and negotiate with each one based upon what you can afford to pay them. And once you have negotiated that, you are back in control. It may take you longer, but at least they won't charge you late payment charges or missed payment charges, which will increase your debts. And then, once you have made those arrangements to pay the lesser amounts, and you set aside food money and your basic mortgage or rent, then close all spending down. That means absolutely no window shopping. You only go to the shop for something that you have specifically decided you need to buy with the right amount of money that you need to buy it. You buy the thing and you leave the building. Don't go to the supermarket and just walk down every aisle looking at everything, because invariably you'll see something you want to pick up. So it requires discipline to get out. You make a plan, and then you stick with a disciplined plan. You know, men are slightly better than women at this. Because we can go into a shop, buy something and walk out straight away. You know, my wife likes to shop for a long time. So she knows what she wants, but on the way to it, she'll walk down all the aisles and have a look at the special offers and things. I go in the shop, there are 4 things that I want, I know where they are, I walk to them. I've got 1, I've got 2, I've got 3, I've got 4, I'm done, let's go. You have to start shopping like that when you are in debt, because any additional spending will just cripple you the following month. Concerning discipline, Luke chapter 12, verse 15. Luke chapter 12, verse 15. Then he said to them, "Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed or covetousness, because life does not consist in the abundance of things that you possess." In other words, recognize that advertising is giving you a false message of where happiness can be found. Advertising will say, your life consists in the abundance of things that you possess. The Bible says your life does not consist in the abundance of things that you possess. The thing that makes life worthwhile is the quality of your relationships with people. That is what life is actually about. The things that you possess do not actually make your life better. You know, some people will say, okay, I would love to drive a better car. I have driven all kinds of cars, from £50,000 cars to £50 Skoda when I was at university. And after about 2 hours of driving a £50,000 car, it begins to feel ordinary. Because you're still holding a steering wheel, and the same pedals are at your feet. And you can't even see the car because you're inside it. You're just looking out of the window. And apart from a slight difference in acceleration, there is not that much difference between a £50,000 car and a £5,000 car. Except that £50,000 car will upset you more if someone scratched it. Or when I was driving a more expensive car, I didn't even want to park in a supermarket car park. I parked way up in the corner somewhere, away from any other cars, so nobody would open the door and dent my door. So, these expensive things don't actually increase the value of your life. They just add a little bit of unease, a little bit of worry, a little bit of protection. A friend of mine bought a brand new car, sports car, and it was very expensive, very fast car, 2 doors, and after about 2 years, he told me that he was going to change it and buy another one. And he'd only put about 5,000 miles on the car since it was brand new. So I said to him, "Why are you changing your car so soon?" And he said to me, "Because it is no longer turning heads." You know, when you get your brand new car and you drive into the church car park, everybody's head goes. But the second time you drive into the car park, they've seen your car. So they're not going to turn their head again and look at your car. So I said to myself, so you're paying £40,000 for the people in the car park to turn their head? Because that's all that happens. You know, a little bit of admiration. Oh, nice car. And you feel good about yourself. That's a very expensive way of feeling good for a short time. And then that feeling of being good turns to feeling bad when they no longer give you any more admiration, when they no longer stop and look at your car because they've seen it last week, and your car becomes ordinary to them. And when your car becomes ordinary, you still have to make the payments to continue keeping it up. So you may be fooled into thinking by advertisements that these things will make you happy. There are only 2 things in life that make you happy: being at peace with God and having good relationships with other people. Everything else is temporary and immaterial. I live on a street where all the houses are just 3-bedroom, semi-detached houses. Now, one of my daughters wants me to move to buy a house in another place where there are all detached houses with lots of space in between. But there's one thing I like about my street, is that I know all my neighbors, and I like them. I know their names, I know their history, and every time we come outside, we talk. And when I come into my street, I'm walking into a place where I have friends. That's worth more to me than the house. When I look forward to driving home and I park my car and my friends are outside chatting or washing their cars, we talk. That means so much more to me than driving up to a bigger, posher house where my neighbors are half a mile away and I never see anybody to talk to. So don't think that possessions creates happiness. It's people that create happiness. And don't assume that people's admiration will create happiness for you. Because very often that admiration quickly turns to envy anyway. And if you are becoming happy by making other people envious, that's not a good type of happiness. I heard someone say concerning those who buy things on credit cards and loans, he said, we buy things that we can't afford to impress people that we don't know. So you buy a car, you can't afford it, so that people on the street who you don't know will see it, who don't care about you or don't even know you. So focus on being at peace with God and have good relationships with each other. That is what life is all about. And there is more happiness in giving money to someone else who is in need than spending additional money on yourself when you don't need it. So if you have the option to upgrade something that you have which is working well, or take that same amount of money and give it to somebody who is desperately in need, which one of those things will make you happier? Giving the person who is in need will actually make you happier for longer than upgrading something that you don't need. Oh, come inside with you. Can't they come in? This page? Okay, I'll speak to the microphone. Let me hold it.
Sorry.
That's fine. So, let me give you a word about credit cards. This is how to use credit cards against themselves. Because credit cards will destroy your finance if you don't use them correctly. But there is a way of using a credit card to help you get out of debt. And this is what you do. There are some credit cards that will offer you 0% interest for a period of time. And they will say if you transfer your debts from another credit card to their credit card, then it will be interest-free for a certain period of time. Some of them do it free. Some of them charge about 2.5% interest. So this is what you need to do. If you owe a certain amount of money on a credit card, and you're paying perhaps 15 or 20 or even 29% interest, and you always pay the highest interest on credit cards if you take out cash at the cash point with them. Immediately you go on to the 29% or higher interest rate than if you actually use it to make a purchase. So suppose you have a credit card where you're paying all this high interest. Then it is actually cheaper to transfer that entire debt to a credit card that has 0%, even if you pay 2.5%, and then it becomes zero rated for maybe 12 or 18 months. However, here is the temptation. When you have transferred the money over to the second credit card, you now have a bigger outstanding balance on the first card that you can spend. Resist the temptation, leave it on a zero balance, or even destroy it. And then the second credit card that you now transfer the money to, if you have 12 months or 18 months interest free, you set up a standing order to pay off the debt before the interest begins to be charged. So if a 12-month interest-free, you divide the amount of money you owe to that credit card by 12, and you pay that amount each month. And then you know by the end, it will be done. And all you would have paid is 2.5% instead of the bigger percentage of the older cards. So that's how you can use credit cards to get out of credit card debt. But you have to be disciplined. Once you transfer, destroy and close down the first card. Set up a standing order, pay off before the interest is charged. When it's done, close it down. And that way, you can get out of it. First Timothy chapter 6, verse 6. And I'm talking about now watching your daily spending. First Timothy chapter 6, verse 6. And it says, godliness with contentment is great gain. You see, contentment is gain. Because if you know when to stop spending, then the money that is left is your gain. If you don't know when to stop spending, you will spend until you have nothing left, and then you have no gain, no surplus. So decide that you are content, and it has to be a decision. And if I say to myself, I am content with my suit, and I say that, when I go into a shop with some smarter suits that are on sale, I remind myself, I am content with my suit. My suit is fine, I don't need to change it. So those suits are good, but not for me, and you move on. So identify all the things in your life that you do not need to change, and decide, before you go to a shop, I am content with these things. And once you have made that decision, it will be easier to resist the temptation to upgrade when you see some bargain, because you won't actually need it. And here is a statement that I always make to my family. A bargain is not a bargain unless it is something you actually need. Just because something is cheap doesn't mean you should buy it. If you don't need it, even if it's half price, leave it. Unless, of course, you buy it at half price, it sells on eBay for more money, in which case you're doing business. That's different. If you're just buying it to put in the wardrobe or to put down, leave it. Be content. And when you're organizing your bills, do as many of them as possible by direct debit or standing order. Many companies will charge you less if you pay by direct debit, especially utility companies, because it's less administration for them. So they will charge you less as well because it costs them less to administer those transactions. And also, when you have your things coming up by standing order or direct debit, if you organize them at the time of the month when you get paid, then you will not run the risk of missing those payments because they'll come out when you have the money, providing that you organize them not to be greater than your income. If they are greater than your income, you have to negotiate them with the lender so that when they come out, you have something left over. But direct debits also can trap you. So beware of the trap. And that is, when the product is paid for, some companies will continue taking the direct debit and leave it up to you to cancel it. So you have to be vigilant. For example, things like domestic appliance insurance. You buy products and they say, do you want to take out this insurance to guarantee the product? And some of these insurances are paid monthly. And you say, well, yes, I want an insurance against my boiler and my fridge and my washing machine, which is good. But sometimes, when these things break down, we decide to change them. And we forget that we're still paying insurance for things that we no longer have. So continue to review all the things you're paying out and make sure that you're still paying them out for relevant reasons. A very popular one is mobile phones. When you get a mobile phone, especially if you get a contract where you're paying for the SIM card and the handset all in one, then this charge is set in such a way that by the end of the contract, you will have paid for the handset while you're also paying for the calls. After that contract has ended, you need to cancel that contract And if you're keeping the handset, get a SIM only. But if you forget or fail to cancel it, they'll continue charging you at the same rate, which means you're now buying the handset the second time. And if you forget and you do it for another whole year, you bought the handset twice. And they won't say to you, sir, you've paid for the handset now, you can just go to calls only. No, they will continue taking the higher amount. So be careful when you have handsets and SIM all together. As soon as the contract is over, you know that you paid for the handset, renegotiate. Either get a different contract and get a SIM only, or if you need to change your handset, at least let the payment be for something that you actually need. But don't continue. So standing orders are good, help you to be organized, but you need to make sure you cancel them as soon as they are no longer needed, because sometimes they will not automatically cancel. Even things like car tax. You can pay your car tax by direct debit. And if you sell your car, then they're supposed to automatically stop the payments, and then the new owner will start paying. But I have found that sometimes they don't stop the payments. They'll charge the new owner for the tax and continue taking tax out of your account until you stop it, and then you have to claim it back. If you don't stop it and you don't claim it back, they'll keep it. So you have to be diligent and keep on top of things, because no one else is going to do it for you. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 2. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 2. He simply says, "Why spend money for what is not bread, and your labor for what does not satisfy? Listen to me, and eat what is good, and you will delight in the riches of fare." So, this tells me that before I spend, I have to ask myself, do I need this? Do I really need this? Now, let me ask you a question. Think about all the things that you have purchased over the last 12 months. I'm going to give you a few moments, just to let them come to mind. All the things you spent. I'm not talking about food, I'm thinking about physical goods. Right. Now, maybe even holidays as well, non-essentials. Now, if you could get a full refund on any of those things that you have spent by taking them back, how many things would you take back and get a refund on? See, I've noticed this at Christmas. At Christmas, the queue is very long to get into shops. I remember once, some early December, I thought I'd just pop into a department store to buy an item, and the queue was 45 minutes long. I just left. That's I'll buy it online instead. I went back to the same shop in January, and there was a different queue. The refund and exchange queue. That was the longest queue. Because many of the people that bought things before Christmas in January realized, I'd be happier to get my money back for this because I never really needed it. Some people, raise a lot of money by cashing in and selling off at car boot sales things that they have bought. There's a program called cash in the attic. You go, you buy things, you put them away, you never use them. Shoes you don't wear, clothes you don't wear, ornaments and things you don't use, things are still in boxes. And just think, how much money do you have in your house in goods that you never needed? And if you could take them back, how much money would you raise? Now when you've thought about that, think to yourself, well, before I continue that cycle, let me make sure that I don't buy anything else that I don't need. So keep asking yourself, do I really need this? And for what purpose do I need this? My father helped me to be like that, because when I was a child, I used to ask him for money. He used to ask me a number of questions. What do you need it for? I want to buy this. Why do you want to buy this? What are you going to use it for? Can you use anything else for that purpose? And after a long series of questions, I may or may not get some of the money. Ask yourself the same questions when you're buying things. Do I need this? what purpose is this going to serve in my life? Can this purpose be served by anything else? You know, sometimes we spend money on clothes, even though we have lots of clothes. There are some people who only wear their clothes once. You know, they buy it, they wear it, put it in the wardrobe. Next time there's an occasion, they'll buy another garment, they wear it once, and put it in the wardrobe. And so their wardrobe builds up and builds up. And they don't want to wear the garment again, because somebody has already seen it. And that's why I'm so glad I'm a man. Because I can wear the same suit every week, and it don't matter to me that you've seen it before. I just change the tie. But, you know, my children, they said, Dad, I can't wear this. I said, why? Because I've already worn it. So I said, are these throwaway clothes? Are they only meant to be worn once? Why do you buy clothes of such good quality if they're only for one wear? You have to wear them again. So you have to start thinking differently, because some of these habits create debt unnecessarily. You know, I know people who have shoe boxes piled high in their rooms of shoes that they bought for occasions and wore once. And then a secondary problem occurs when you live like that, and that is you use up all of your space. So you're now living in a cluttered house where your wardrobe is so tight you can't get any more clothes in, but you don't want to wear any of the clothes in your wardrobe because you wore them before. And you can't open your door because behind the door is piles and piles of shoes. But you don't want to wear them because you wore them before, so you're looking for more. So you need to rethink, am I living in a most efficient way? And then, the time is running out for this, but there's still time. And that's payment protection insurance, PPI. Look through your old statements, loans, credit cards, mortgages and things, and see if payment protection insurance was added to those payments. Because many companies, without asking you, were just automatically adding them to your payments. And if those payments have gone back 20 or 30 years, you could have 5, 10, 15 or 20,000 pounds sitting there waiting to be reclaimed. Make a note and do this, because in a few months' time, you'll no longer be able to reclaim this, because the time is running out and the government is going to stop the obligation of these companies to return the money. Now, there are loads of companies that will ring you up and text you and harass you and offer to reclaim the money on your behalf and keep 25% of it as their fee. So suppose over the years you haven't noticed that you've been paying this money and you paid off £20,000 of PPI, and these companies will come and say, okay, we'll claim it for you, and then they'll give you 15,000 and they'll keep 5,000. And you think, well, I don't know how to claim it, so I'll let them do it. All you need to do, all that they do to claim your 25% for themselves and the rest for you, is write a letter to your creditors. So if you know how to write that letter, then you can write it yourself. You don't need someone else to write it for you. And if you want to get hold of such letters, all you have to do is Google. Just say, sample PPI letter, or PPI reclaim letter. And you'll find loads of sample letters online that you can copy, fill in your details, and post to your bank, or the building society, whoever owes you that money. And that's all you need to do. And they'll probably delay for about 4 or 6 weeks, but eventually they'll send you the money. So in a few months' time, you'll no longer be able to do this. So if you haven't done it already, look through all your bills, even bills that are closed, like old statements of credit cards, loans, mortgages, and just look through the statements and see if anything like PPI or payment protection interest was in the insurance was added to that. Go online, find a PPI reclaim sample letter, fill in your details, post it to your bank, and get your money. So there's money there waiting for some of you that you can claim with one letter. And just think, if you spend an hour looking for the letter, writing it down, getting the address, finding out, posting it off, and you get 5 or 10,000 pounds, that's 10,000 pounds an hour. That's good money for your time. So do not neglect to do these things. So these are some basic principles that you need to have in the back of your mind for all your expenditure. Now, we are going to look at financial aptitude. So for this, I need the PowerPoints. So can someone switch the system on, please? And switch to this microphone, because I'll be coming up here to do this. So I have a little questionnaire, which I want you all to fill in. So, take one, pass them on. Take one, pass them on. Filling this in, I'm not going to ask you to hand it in or compare your results with anybody else. This is entirely for your own benefit. So the more honest your answers are, the more beneficial it will be for you. Okay? So, on the table I gave you is just where to write your answers. So there are multiple choice questions where you'll simply answer by A, B, or C. So let's go to the first question. Based on your current situation, which of these alternatives is most important for you? A, enjoying the pleasure of the moment. B, planning for the future. Or C, surviving from day to day. So next to question 1, just circle A, B, or C. Question 2. What do you think would be your emotional response to receiving an unexpected sum of money equivalent to 1 month's salary? A, I would be relieved and save it in the bank for a rainy day. Or B, I would be excited and think about treating myself. Or C, I would wonder if I could possibly make this money grow faster than the mere interest on a bank or savings account. Remember, the more honest you are with your answers, the more useful it will be to you. Question 3. What generally forms the major part of your motivation? A, striving for success. B, trying to avoid failure or hardship. Or C, enjoying life and having fun. Question 4. How important is it for you that your friends see your prosperity? Moderately important, extremely important, or not important? Question 5. Which of the following reasons for borrowing money would you consider in the future? A, to treat myself. B, to pay off other debts that are accruing a higher interest. Or C, to save it in the bank for future needs. Number 6. How important is it to you to own the latest model of popular goods and appliances? A, extremely important because I don't want to be out of date. B, not important because if the old model works, I'm happy to continue using it. Or C, not bothered either way because material goods are not important to me. Number 7. How do you feel about borrowing money? I feel excited, just as if the money was a gift. Or B, it makes me feel nervous because I worry about whether I will be able to pay it back. Or C, I feel optimistic about trying to increase it before I have to return it. Question 8. If you owned a number of prestige cars, would you consider your cars to be a good investment? A. Yes, because each car would be worth a lot of money. Or B. No, because their value would continue to decrease over time. Or C. Yes, because wealth attracts wealth. Number 9. What type of shopper are you? A. I always plan what I want to purchase before I go shopping. Or B. I enjoy wandering through the shops and buying on impulse. Or C. I enjoy trying to find a bargain or negotiating with the retailer for a lower price. Number 10. How often do you think of business ideas? Every day? Hardly ever? Or never? Question 11. Which of the options below do you think is the most important for one wishing to start their own business? A. A healthy fear of failure. B. Clear ideas with relevant specific knowledge and experience. Or C. Academic qualifications. And final question, number 12. Which of the business types listed below do you prefer? A. I want to be involved in every aspect of the business, from production right through to marketing and strategic planning. Or B. I prefer to focus on the strategic overview and leave the other main business operations to the employees. Or C. I want to be a sole trader with no one else involved in my business. Okay, so now I want you to add up the number of circles in each column and write down the total at the bottom. So look at each column, and however many circles you put around letters, just add that number up and put it at the bottom of that column. Do you all understand the instruction? Yes?
Is it possible if you could just go through question number 1? I missed that, please.
Yeah?
That's question number 1.
Question 1. Based on your current situation, which of these alternatives is most important to you? A. Enjoying the pleasure of the moment. B. Planning for the future. Or C. Surviving from day to day. Are there any other questions anyone wants to? Okay, 2 and 10. Number 2, what do you think would be your emotional response to receiving an unexpected sum of money equivalent to 1 month's salary? A, I would be relieved and save it in the bank for a rainy day. Or B, I would be excited and think about treating myself. Or C, I would wonder if I could possibly make this money grow faster than the main interest on the bank or savings account. And then repeat with question 10. How often do you think of business ideas? A, every day. B, hardly ever. Or C, never. Number 5. Which of the following reasons for borrowing money would you consider in the future? A, to treat myself. B, to pay off other debts that are accruing a higher interest. Or C, to save it in the bank for future needs.
3 and 4.
3 and 4. 3. What generally forms the major part of your motivation? A, striving for success. B, trying to avoid failure or hardship. Or C, enjoying life and having fun. And then 4, how important is it for you that your friends see your prosperity? Moderately important, extremely important, or not important? Okay. So these questions which I've asked you are based upon the life habits of different types of people. And so what I want to do now is add up the columns and put your sum total at the bottom of each column. Add up the number of circles in each column. We all done that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then fill in the top of the columns, which you will see on the board. The first column is foolish. The second column is poor. And the third column is rich. Now, it doesn't actually matter where you are. What is important is where you're going. Now, if your highest score is on column 1, then your wealth is decreasing. Because the habits that you have indicated that you have are the kind of habits that will decrease what you have and make your debt increase. If your highest score is in column 2, then it is quite likely that in 10 years' time you'll be in the same position that you are in now. You manage to maintain your life, but you will not make much improvement, or you will not be much worse off. And you see many people like that. You know, you meet them, you prosper, you buy things, you grow, and 10 years later they're exactly the same as where they were 10 years ago, because they're just managing. If your highest score is in column 3, then you have the aptitude and the life habits and the emotional response to increase what you have and make your life financially better. So, what I'm going to do now in the last 45 minutes is we're going to go through each of these answers and we're going to discuss them with you and help you to understand where you are and what these things, these life habits do and how they work. Are there any questions at this moment? Okay, right, so start with question 1. And let's discuss these life habits. Based on your current situation, which of these alternatives is the most important to you? Now, if you answered A, if the most important thing in your life is enjoying the pleasure of the moment, then you will be more likely to respond to advertisements that appeal to the moment. for example, buy now and pay later. In other words, in this very moment you can own this brand new bed. In this very moment you can now own this brand new car. And don't worry about the payments, they will come later. If living and enjoying life in the moment is the most important thing for you, you're more likely than other people to respond to those kind of advertisements. Because your life is what happens now. Now there are many different types of people in life. There are some people that live their entire life thinking about the past. I wish I did this, I wish I never did this, I regret this, or I'm glad about this. There are some people who live in the moment. And they don't think about the future and they don't worry about the past. And there are those who live in the future, always planning. Now it is important to have all three, because your history informs you about what you need to change and what you have learned, because the wisdom you gain is in your history. Living in the moment is also important because that's the only time you have. You don't know if you're going to have tomorrow, and yesterday is gone. So the moment is the you. And then the future is not yet, but it is coming. And if you don't plan for it, when it comes, it will catch you by surprise or trip you up. So even though it's important to have all three in your mind, you need to understand how they affect your choices. So if the pleasure of the moment is the most important thing for you, then anything that appeals to momentary pleasure will be more attractive to you. Buy now, pay later. Increase your credit rating so you can book this holiday today. And then your holiday is paid for. You feel good, I've got a nice holiday. But there is nothing more self-defeating than paying for a holiday that you've already had. So you get the credit card, you buy the holiday, you feel good today. I've got a nice holiday to look forward to. And life is great because you're looking forward to the end of term or when your annual leave is due. But the holiday will soon be done. And then you spend the rest of that year looking back. As each direct debit comes out, you're paying for the holiday that has already finished. And when you live like that, you can't even plan for the next one anymore because you haven't finished with the last one. But some people, because they want the momentary happiness, will increase their credit limit or take another credit card and book the next holiday before they pay for the last one. And then if the next holiday comes before they pay for the last one and it finishes, now you end up paying for the last two holidays that have already gone. And you see how you will be going further and further down because you live for the moment. C, surviving from day to day. There are some people who want to just make sure I've got enough to get through this day. And I'm not going to waste any money, and I'm not going to put any money away because I just want to pay my bills. And once this day is cleared, that's fine. Tomorrow is another day. I'm not going to think about it until it comes. If you live like that, you will probably survive. But your tomorrow will be the same as today, and the day after will be the same and the same. And you'll be like the man who had one egg a day and nothing to look forward to but one egg a day until the eggs ran out. Be planning for the future. There is a significant difference between planning for the future and worrying about the future. Worrying about the future is no good. Because if we worry about the future, worrying is thinking about all the things that could possibly go wrong in the future. If we worry about the future, we will damage our health, damage our life, and limit our creativity, because worry creates fear. So we shouldn't worry about the future, but we should be open to planning for future possibilities. What can be done with this? You know, like the Bible says, if you're planning to build a tower, you first count the cost, whether or not you have enough skill and money to start it and finish the project. So if you're planning for the future, then things begin to open out as possibilities. And the more possibilities that are in your mind, the more open you will be to opportunities that pass by. You see, planning for the future and having ideas in your mind is like having a fishing line in the water. Now, if you're sitting by the side of a river and you're wishing to have a fish, but you haven't invested in a line and you haven't put the line in the water, you will never know if fishes have passed you by because you won't see them. They'll just pass by under the water all day long and you'll be none the wiser. Only if you have your net or your line in the water will you ever know if a fish had passed by and you collect it. If you make plans and start making inquiries, only then will you know if the opportunities have passed or are coming. So take for example, suppose after much saving you manage to save £10,000. One person would say, right, that £10,000 is a lovely cruise. We haven't been on a cruise for a long time. Let's book a cruise. So you book a cruise, 2 weeks. Now, the whole family goes on a lovely cruise for 2 weeks. 2 weeks for £10,000. That's £5,000 a week. If you break that down in a 5-day week, that's £1,000 a day. Or if it's a 7-day week, it's £700 a day. So you're on this holiday now, and suppose one day you just want to relax, look at the sea, and read a book. By the end of that day, that relaxation and looking at the sea has cost you £700. And when you start thinking about your possible investment and that kind of spending, the very pleasure that you thought you'd get out of your holiday begins to diminish as the holiday draws to an end. Because imagine if you had that money in cash and every day you had to pay for your holiday. By the third day you say, you know what, this is too expensive, I'm not going to pay it anymore, let's go home. But because you paid it all in advance, you just go through it. And by the end, it's finished. But suppose somebody else got the same £10,000 and said, you know, I want a holiday, but I don't want to spend this money on it, but I still want a holiday. Let me show you how you can spend your money and still have it left over at the same time. So, suppose I want to have a holiday, and I save £10,000 for a big family holiday, and you want a holiday, and you save £10,000 for your big family holiday. Now, there is a wise and a foolish way to spend that money for the same holiday. The foolish way is to take the money, book the holiday, and go on the holiday. When you finish the holiday, the money is finished. Okay? Well, let me go into more detail. There is a rich way, a poor way, and a foolish way to get the same holiday. So the most foolish way to get a £10,000 holiday is to get a credit card, borrow the money, pay for the holiday, enjoy the holiday, and pay for it afterwards. That's the most foolish way to have a holiday. The poor way to have a holiday is to save up your hard-earned cash so you haven't borrowed the money, and when you've saved up enough money, spend the money on the holiday, enjoy the holiday, and when you finish the holiday, the money is finished. Rich people don't do that. They spend the money on a holiday and still have the money left over. How do you do that? The way to do it is to invest your money and spend the surplus from your investment on the holiday while still having the money left over. So I'll give you an example. If I want to have a £10,000 holiday, I'm just using that as an example, most holidays are cheaper than that. But suppose I want to have a £10,000 holiday for my whole family, and I've got £10,000. This is what I would do with it. It's just one idea. You can have 1,000 of the similar ideas. I like to invest in properties. That's the thing I do. But you may have other ways of investing. So I would take that £10,000, use that deposit to buy a small property, and then I would rent that property out. Now, you must make sure you do this in such a way that the rent that is coming in is greater than the mortgage that you're paying for that property. So, for example, I purchased a property in Manchester. I put down £11,500 as a deposit to buy that property. It's a one-bedroom flat. And the income coming in is £450 a month, and the mortgage is £110 a month. So I am getting back 450 minus 110, that's 330 or 40. Minus the agent's fee, so I end up with about £290. So I spent my £11,500, and as a result, I'm getting a monthly income of £290. And my £11,000 is still there. I haven't spent it. I can now take that £290, I can borrow some money to go on my holiday and make sure that the repayment of that loan is less than the £290 coming from the flat. And then I borrow the money, have a wonderful holiday, and who's paying for my holiday? My tenants, not me. And when I finish coming back from the holiday, my tenants have paid for my holiday, and my £11,000 is still there in the flat. If I want to go on holiday next year, my tenants will save up for my holiday for the next year at a rate of £290 every month. So that same £11,000 which I invested can give my family a holiday every single year for the rest of our life. And at the end of our days, the money is still there. We haven't spent it. That's how rich people live. They don't spend their capital, they spend the cash flow that the capital produces. So the £11,000 that they use as a deposit for the flat, that's the capital. If I spend that, that's like eating your seeds. You don't eat the seeds, you plant the seeds and you eat the fruits. And let the seeds grow to continue producing more and more fruits. But if you eat the seeds, you're finished. So if you save up some money, that's your seed money. If you invest it in a way that produces cash flow, you now have produced trees that produce fruit. You can now eat the fruit because the seed will continue producing more and more fruit indefinitely. That's how you spend your money and still have it at the same time. Do you understand that principle? Good. You have now improved your life. Your emotional response. What do you think would be your emotional response to receiving an unexpected sum of money equal to 1 month's pay? Okay. If you said, I would be excited and think about treating myself, that's like saying, if I gave you a bag of seeds and I said to you, plant some apple trees in your garden, because there's a good market for apples, and in due course, you could make good money selling apples at the local market. And you say, thank you very much. You know what? I've seen a recipe where you can eat these seeds. I'm going to boil these seeds and eat them today. You have now destroyed what could have been a future investment. So if you think about every time you get some money or think about getting some money, treating myself today, you are a seed eater. You're eating the seeds of your future prosperity before you have put them to work. You see, money is not to be spent. Money is to be invested, and the cash flow is to be spent. For example, I have one daughter at university, and another one is going next year, God's willing. Now, different parents finance their children to university in different ways. Yes, I said to them, take your loan, but you won't have to repay the loan, and neither will I. So what I did was, the money that I had set aside to help them through their university, I have not given it to them or spent it on their university fees. I have invested it so that it will produce a cash flow. I've invested it in a property. And the money coming from the property, I haven't given to them and put it one side. And this is what I said to them. Go to university, take your student loan, study, pass your exams, and come out. When you have come out, and you start working, and the government requires you to start repaying the loan, your tenants will repay your loan from the money that I invested in the property that they are living in. So, I am not paying for my children's university, my tenants are paying for them. And the money that I invested in the property that the tenants are living in is still mine. And at the end of my days, the money that I had set aside to give them an education will now give them a house. So that same investment will pay for their education and eventually pay for their house. So they'll have a mortgage-free house and an education from the same money that somebody else would just spend on an education. You see the principle? So instead of spending the money on what you want, you think and pray how can I invest this money so that the money will still be there and then I can use the cash flow that the investment produces. So if you think about a lump sum of money and you're excited about treating yourself, you'll never even get to the investment stage. Because if you think about treating yourself, you will always find a reason to do so. There are always things that you could do to treat yourself. And if that's your first thought, you will have a wonderful day today, like the person that ate both chickens with their friends, and then the next day they will poor again. If you think, well, I would be relieved, and I would save it for a rainy day in the bank, that's a good thing. And that helps you to maintain your life. You know, there are some people who want to just make sure that I don't go down, just keep things as they are. And this is for a rainy day, and if a rainy day comes, I've got some backup. It's good to have backup, because unexpected things happen. But there are two types of backup. There's a static backup, and there's an active backup. A static backup is a set amount of money which does not grow except for maybe the 1 or 2% interest you get on a savings account. An active backup is a backup that grows at a higher rate than you get from interest. And if your active backup grows, well, when the rainy day comes, you will only need to spend the cash flow that the active backup produced, and the money will still be there for the next rainy day. So the money that one person will use for one rainy day will satisfy all of your rainy days for the rest of your life. Your question is how to invest. Now, there are three main ways of investing or setting up businesses. There is, number one, the service industry. This is where you provide a service to somebody. You know, you may plait their hair, or you may give them a massage, or you may make clothes for them, or you may fix their car, or you do something with your time and your labor, and you sell the service. Second type of investment is retail. This is where you find goods that are selling cheap, and you find a market where you can sell them for a greater amount, and you buy them, and you sell them, and you keep the money in the middle. And that way, you make a profit. You can also sell information. And these days, information selling is almost free. By information selling, I'm talking about selling knowledge. So you can sell knowledge in many, many different ways. If you have an idea or a hobby that you like to talk about, free of charge, you can set up a YouTube channel, get a camera or an iPhone, photograph yourself talking about your favorite subject, and people will watch you. And if what you're saying is interesting, people will continue watching you, and if you keep adding to your channels more and more interesting things, your number of followers will increase. As your followers increase, your channel will become more and more valuable, because people will pay you to advertise on your channel based upon how many viewers you have. So something as simple as talking about your hobby. Some people will sit down and talk to their friends for hours about things they're interested in. If you just had that same conversation to a camera and let many people hear your conversation, that same conversation which earned you nothing could actually earn you money, and you're selling information. You could write a book. Now, in the old days, people used to write books, and you'd have to write a book, put it on paper, and go to a publisher, try and negotiate a deal. Most publishers will turn down your work, they're not interesting enough, and 1 or 2 publishers will take on your work. Now, the world has changed. You can write a book today, and you can publish it this evening on Amazon as an e-book, and immediately people start downloading it and paying for it, and you've made money. I wrote a short book for my children. It's a book called The Rich, the Poor, and the Foolish. And I wrote it just to help them to understand how to manage money. Because I have a philosophy, you know, there are some people who wait until they die to give their children their inheritance. And then you run the risk that you are not there to guide them how to manage this large amount of money. And they didn't work for it, so it is very easy for them to spend it. And sometimes when people get a large inheritance, they do foolish things with that money. So I believe in giving them as much as you can while you are alive, and then guiding them in how to manage it. So that you not just give them money, but you give them the wisdom that comes with the money. Because if you get money first and wisdom later, by the time the wisdom comes, the money will be finished. So I started to write down something to help my children to understand how to manage money, so I can gradually start shifting things over onto their account and letting them start to develop business. And when I finished writing this document, I gave it to my daughter, and she said, "This is really good. You should publish this." And immediately I thought, well, I've never published a book before, and very few people manage to publish books. And I began to think old school, approaching a publisher, putting it on paper. And then I thought, no, publish it as an ebook. So I wrote it all out, stuck a picture on the front, uploaded it onto Amazon free of charge, and published it as an ebook. Because they make their profits by a percentage of your actual sales. And immediately, people started buying the book online. And in the background, without doing any work, the same letter I wrote to my daughter was now selling online. So anybody can share information. Whatever you are interested in, you can be sure somebody else is going to be interested in the same thing. Because the world is full of millions of people. And when you go online, you open yourself to billions of people who could look at what you have said or what you have written and be potentially interested in it. And the wonderful thing about it is if nobody is interested, you haven't lost any money. Because it hasn't cost you any money to make a YouTube channel or to publish an ebook. All you have spent is your time. So there are many different ways of setting up businesses. And the ideal type of business is the type of business that will eventually start paying you without you continuing to put money in. Now, if you're doing a service industry, you think, well, how do you make a service industry into something that will pay me so I can stop working? Well, if you want to make a service industry, like suppose you decide, I'm going to plait hair, then you have to think to yourself, well, I don't want to be plaiting hair the rest of my life. So what I need to do is now find a way of getting other people and matching them with clients and taking the matching fee. So if I'm a good hair plaiter, but I don't want to plait hair the rest of my life, what I need to do, I can teach people and I can charge them to learn how to plait hair, and then I'm selling knowledge. So I can be plaiting hair on part-time and teaching people how to plait hair part-time. Or I can set up a hair plaiting agency, whereby I have a number of people who I have taught, and a website where people want their hair to be plaited, and when people contact me to get their hair plaited, I can then charge them a fee and put them in touch with one of the people I have taught to go and match them up to plait their hair. And then I have moved from a service provider to an agency. And now I am providing a link between those who need the service and those who want the service. So now I'm doing 3 jobs. I can plait some hair in my spare time to keep my plaiting going. I can teach other people to plait hair, so I'm selling information. Or I can work as an agent, putting the students together with people who want hair plaiting to be done. Or I can do all 3. So whatever you do, don't just be satisfied to stay there, you can expand and you can move forwards. And because we live in an online world, so many things are almost free now. There was a time when advertising was very, very expensive. But you can use your own YouTube channel to advertise your products and services. And you won't need to pay anybody for that. In fact, somebody may even pay you because they can advertise on your YouTube channel while you're looking for work at the same time. So never think about just the rainy day or treating yourself, thinking, how can I invest? And sometimes you might need to invest in yourself. Because if you want to sell knowledge, then you can invest by making sure you gain the knowledge that you want to sell. There was a student in one of my previous churches who was studying A-level maths. And he said to me, I really want to get an A in maths, and I'm really struggling, but I need all my time to get this A. But at the same time, he needed to work part-time because he was short of money. And he said there was a conflict between the amount of work he had to do to raise the money he needed and the amount of studying he had to do to get his A-level. And I said to him, did you know that you could be paid to study your own A-level? He said, really? I said, yes, you could be paid to study your own A-level. He said, how? I said to him, this is what you do. Set up a camera and solve all of your equations online. Set up a YouTube channel, and every time you have a question to answer, talk about what you're doing and work through the calculations in front of the camera. Because there are many, many people who are studying the same A-level that you're studying that don't understand what you understand, and they would watch your channel and learn from you. So the same knowledge that you're trying to have, sharing at the same time. So he set up a channel and started putting up equations and solving equations and talking about different methods of solving, and one by one his number of viewers increased until he had thousands of viewers trying to figure out how he studied his A-level. And eventually he didn't need to work at the part-time job because he was earning more money from his YouTube channel than from his part-time work. And the YouTube channel was just studying his own A-level. So information is money. And keep thinking about, if this is interesting to me, it's also interesting to somebody else. Let me put it up there and see if anybody else will use it. And then you can add further. There are some people, when they sell information by looking at your YouTube, they'll say, right, if you want a summary of this, you can download a summary for 99 pence. And they click, pay by PayPal, download a summary for 99 pence, and immediately an email document, PDF, is sent to them with your summary. Now, a book publisher said to me this. He said, if you want to sell a 100-page book, the quickest way to sell it is as 10-page pamphlets. So you talk about what's in this book, the information, and then say, right, if you want the first 10 sections, click and pay 99 pence, and you can have it immediately. What's 99 pence? You know, the cost of a chocolate bar or a bag of crisps. So thousands of people are interested, you know, I'll give you 99 pence. Send me the first 10 chapters. People are more likely to buy something for 99 pence than a whole book for £10. So whatever you have, ask yourself, can I share this information with other people? Because you may be able to create an income stream from the knowledge that you already have without even needing an investment capital to set up with. Number 3, what generally forms a major part of your motivation? Striving for success, trying to avoid failure, or enjoying life and having fun. Now, if you try to avoid failure, you will avoid failure, but you won't really succeed. Imagine if I'm in a race, and there are 20 people in this race, and I say to myself at the beginning of the race, I am going to make sure I don't come last. And my aim is to make sure I don't come last. So if I'm running in this race, and there are at least 1 or 2 people behind me, I will not be impressed to run any faster. Because my aim is to not come last. So as long as 2 people are behind me, I'll reach my goal of not coming last. But I'm not likely to win any races with that mentality. Because I'll be satisfied that I didn't come last. If you're motivated by just avoiding failure, that is not a recipe for success. That is just a recipe for staying as you are and not getting any worse. Striving for success is about thinking outside of the box. Thinking, how can I improve on this? How can I do better than this? How can I increase on what I have been given? Like the talents, how can I make this 5 into 10? How can I make this 2 into 4? not just how can I make sure I don't lose this one. Enjoying life and having fun is very important, but if that's your sole motivation, you will spend everything on that. And when it is finished, you will have nothing left for the next moment of enjoyment. And then you'll have a life like a yo-yo. Enjoyment, boredom. Enjoyment, boredom. Enjoyment, boredom. But if you are striving for success, then the motivation to strive and the feeling of success will actually be more exciting than just going for fun in the moment. There's something wonderful about enduring a bit of hardship and then reaping the results. And having a sense of achievement is actually far more rewarding than having fun in the moment. So strive and pray and think and read, and whatever you're interested in, here's some good news. Whatever you are interested in, you can start learning about it today. Just go online, go on YouTube, search on Google, and start reading and listening about your interest. And the more you learn about what you're interested in, the more interested you will become in it, and the more you want to learn. And eventually you get a basic body of knowledge from your pursuit of knowledge that is worth sharing to other people. And start sharing it, and see where that sharing will go. So you gather and you share, you gather and you share. And if your entire life is about following your interests, gathering knowledge and sharing it, you will not only bless others, but as a result, you will bless yourself. How important is it for you that your friends see your prosperity? So, if it is extremely important that your friends see your prosperity, then you will be motivated to spend your money in such a way that will impress your friends. Now you might think, well, I'm not like that. So let me ask you the same question in a different way. Imagine you had the most beautiful house that you could imagine, in the beautiful landscape, just like you want, in the right area. Now the thought will make you happy to have such a house. But how happy would you feel if none of your friends or family ever saw that house? Would it still be as valuable to you as that? You see, the idea that you can't share it with anybody, or that nobody will see it, takes away from the joy of having it. Because then what's involved? You might say, well, I don't care if and nobody sees it. That's good if you can enjoy something, but then you might think, well, that means I'm selfish, I don't want to share it with anybody else. So there's a fine line between wanting to share for the benefit of others and wanting them to be impressed by what you have so they can come and give you credit for your achievements. But if it is important for you, extremely important, that someone sees your prosperity, you'll fall into a number of traps. Here are they. Trap one is that you will spend your money in such a way that your prosperity will be evident very quickly. That's a trap. Suppose you're setting up a business. It's always wise when you're setting up a business to have money in reserve for when business is slow. But if it's really important to you that your friends see your prosperity early, you will be tempted to spend your reserve in such a way that you will appear to be prosperous. I'm setting up a business. Oh boy, you're in business. Yes, I'm in business. Oh good, so what are you driving? Oh well, next week you'll see. And I quickly rush out to spend my reserve on a better car. Oh boy, you're in business. You're looking good, you're wearing a new suit. Yes. Now that made me feel good for the moment, but by spending my reserve in a way that can be seen to impress my friends, I jeopardize my business. Because now when the down times occur, when business is slow, I need to pull in that reserve to pay for the rent of the premises until the customers come in. That money is gone on my car and my new clothes to impress my friends. So now I have to borrow further to get out of debt. And very often, what we see is not real. Say to yourself, what I see is not real. Because much of the prosperity that you see is on credit. Credit card prosperity is not prosperity. A car on loan is not a car.
That's right.
It's a noose around your neck. You see, if I buy a brand new car for £20,000 and I polish it and put it in the garage and never even drive it, so this time next year the car is in perfect condition, as new as the day that I have bought it, already it will have lost about £7,000 of its value. Depreciation. So you lost £7,000 for nothing. Now £7,000 in a year is how much in a month? Get your calculators out. What's £7,000 divided by 12? Pull out your phone, pull your calculator and give me an answer. What's 7,000 divided by 12?
580.
580. Okay. So, if you buy a brand new car for £20,000, you have signed up to lose £580 a month, every month for the first year. That's the cost of impressing your friends with a new car. So by the end of that year, you turn their heads 2 or 3 times, and the turning of their heads has cost you £7,000. Just from depreciation alone, not to mention the wear and tear of the vehicle. So beware of this need to impress people, because the need to impress people could cause you to spend money in such a way that it will create poverty in your life. If it's moderately important to impress your friends, or that they see your prosperity, then you will be in less of a danger. But still, your motivation will be wrong. So you have to ask yourself, why do I want my friends to see my prosperity? If you had a brand new car, and it was an expensive car, and you drove up into the car park and parked the car, if you were not bothered about people seeing what car you were driving, then you would get out of your car and come straight in and sit down. If you wanted people to know that that was your car, you'd linger by your car and wave at people and say Happy Sabbath to them while the door is open and the keys are in your hand. So they will see that you are closing the car and you are pressing the button and locking it before you come inside. Or you wait till everybody comes in the car park and then you park in a way that blocks everybody in. So that you can make an announcement. Well, the person with the brand new Mercedes, move your car because they're blocking the car park, and you get them and pull out your keys and junk them. If that's important to you, then you will do things that will harm yourself in order to be in that position. And then you'll be motivated by the creation of envy. You know, the more envious people are of what you have, the happier you will feel. That's not true happiness. Creating envy is not good, because now you're inciting people to break the commandment. Thou shalt not, be covetous. Thou shalt not covet. Which are the following reasons for borrowing money which you consider in the future? If you borrow money to treat yourself, then you will end up paying for yesterday's pleasures. And you'll be living in reverse, always looking back, which means you can't fully plan for the future because all your money is paying for yesterday. If you think, right, I'll borrow money because I have no reserve and I'll put it on the bank for a rainy day. Now I've got a reserve, I've got money on the bank. That's better than treating yourself with borrowed money, but that is still not wise. Why is it not wise to borrow money and put it on the bank and keep it for a rainy day?
Because you're not investing.
Good, you're not investing. It's not growing. Well, it might be going slightly on the bank.
You can lose the money in the bank will crash.
The bank could crash, yes. There's a more immediate answer.
You're actually a fool, because with them you will take your money for free and lend it to somebody and get an interest on it. And there's nothing you can do about it. As long as you're parking the money in the bank, in their account, they can do anything with it.
Very good. That's close. Here is a simple answer. Yes, let me hear your answer. Say it again? You may not live to the rainy day. Okay. Here is a simple, yes?
In real terms, the money is depreciating because of inflation.
In real terms, the money is depreciated because of inflation. And I'll tell you why. Because if you borrow money and then put that money on the bank, you probably get 1 or 2% interest on the bank, but you'll be paying about 10 or 11% interest on the borrowed money. So while the money is on the bank, you have to be taking the money off to pay back the money you borrowed. So it's not yours. So you'll be paying more interest on the loan than the money that the interest you're getting on the bank. So you actually borrowed money so that you can gradually lose it. So borrowing money to put on the bank is not actually saving. And it's not preparing for a rainy day. Because by the time the rainy day comes, you probably only have half the money left because you will have paid it back to those. Because when you borrow money, you have to immediately start repaying from the very next month. So if I borrow £10,000 and I have to pay it back at £500 a month, after 10 months, half the money has gone back. And I owe more than half the money left because interest will be added to it. So be careful about that. What about B? Well, if I use the money to pay off debts that are accruing a higher interest. Now, this is why only under certain conditions. So let me give you an example. If I have a debt that is charging me 15% interest, and I can borrow money at 5% interest, then it is wise to borrow the remaining money at 5% interest, pay off the 15% interest people, and then at least the remaining payments will be charged at 5% interest instead of 50. So you're reducing the interest rate of your loan by repaying an expensive loan with a cheap loan. However, you have to look at the terms and the conditions, because some loans are front-loaded. That means they will charge you the interest right up front at the beginning. So even if you repay it early, you don't save any money. Because they will add the interest to the amount you owe as one lump sum, and that's the amount they charge you, whether you pay it back quickly or slowly. If you have one of those front-loaded loans, there is no benefit in getting a cheaper loan to pay it off, because you don't save any money, because the amount of interest they want to charge you is built in to the overall amount, which is fixed. If, however, you have a loan that is calculated monthly, like a credit card loan, for example, which means that the quicker you pay it off, the less interest you pay, then it makes sense to find a cheaper loan and pay the expensive loan with a cheaper loan and pay off the cheaper loan with the money that you have left. So before you swap an expensive loan for a cheaper loan, check the terms and conditions and make sure that repaying it early will actually save you money. Otherwise, you could end up increasing your debts by taking on a second loan to pay the first, and the first doesn't even decrease anyway, and now you've got a double loan to pay. Saving it in the bank for future needs. It depends what those future needs are, but chances are it will be decreasing as those needs approach, and then you'll end up gradually losing. How important is it for you to have the latest model of popular goods and appliances? You know, if it is exceedingly important to you because you don't want to be out of date, you will be trapped by advertising. Yeah, and the most common cycle of this replacement is for things like phones. There are very few people who have used all the functions on their phone. In fact, hardly anybody knows what their phone is capable of. Because most of us have a very limited number of usage for a phone. We communicate on social media, we make calls, we might surf the internet. You can do that with most phones. So, a new phone will come out and they'll advertise it. You have to ask yourself, is there any function that I need on my phone that my current phone is not capable of providing? If the answer is no, you don't need another phone. But some people will say, well, the new one is coming out, so I need to get it. Why? Because it's out. Young people are particularly susceptible to that because they tease each other and bully each other when they have an old phone. Here is a word for parents. If your child misbehaves, you have a teenage child who misbehaves, a very, very effective punishment to get them to come in line is to take their smartphone off them and give them a non-smartphone for 7 days. They will repent and quickly change their ways to get back the smartphone. Because their friends will punish them far worse than you can ever punish them when they pull out their own phone and all their friends have the latest phones. But don't be fooled, because if the functions on the new phone are functions that you do not need, then you are spending money for something that you don't need, just to keep up with the latest. Be careful about that, because if you're stuck on getting the latest, you'll be upgrading your phone, you'll be upgrading your television set, you'll be upgrading your computers, you'll be upgrading your car, you'll be upgrading everything just to have the latest. And young people are susceptible to that even with clothes, the sportswear, different sports brands. And when the new brand comes out, they want, some young people spend hundreds of pounds on sneakers, trainers. And they wear them a couple of times and then they're out of date. Then the new ones come out and they've got to get the latest one. Be careful of that, because that is a death trap. I always say to my family, by all means buy what you need, but make sure you need it. Don't just buy it because it's out. Otherwise you could injure yourself. It's like food, If your stomach is full, and I put more food on the table, will you eat it because it is there? Well, it's on the table, I have to eat. Oh, you eat. Now your stomach is full up to here. You can feel it just below your heart. You're breathing hard. And then I say, you haven't had pudding yet. And I bring out 4 different types of puddings. Will you eat it just because it's on the table even though you're hurting? You say, you know what? Thank you, I'm full. I say, but it's on the table. Okay, then I'll eat it. You kill yourself with the very food that's supposed to give you life. But don't do that with products. Buy what you need. And do not be obsessed with having the latest of everything, because you don't need the latest. All the latest will do is catch you in more repayments. How do you feel about borrowing money? I feel excited just as if it was a gift. But it's not a gift. Because it's not yours. A gift is something that belongs to you. A loan is not a gift. So when the bank writes to you and say, "Dear valued customer, we have decided to increase your credit limit. Your credit card now has a spending limit of £10,000. That's not a gift, because it's not yours. A gift is something that belongs to you. It makes me feel nervous because I worry about whether I will be able to repay it. Then don't take it. And if you take it and you're nervous about repaying it, chances are you will struggle to repay it. In fact, let me ask you a question and check your emotions. If I said to you now, I want to give you £10,000 and I want you to do whatever you want with it, do business, use it, whatever, but in 1 year, I want you to give me £10,200 back. But in the meantime, you can do whatever you want with it. Now, you may have 3 different emotional reactions to that. You could say, no, I don't want it because it's not mine. I only want money that I work for. No, thank you. That's playing it safe. You'll neither decrease nor increase with that. You'll be 1 egg a day man. You'll be cool. Tomorrow will be the same as today. If you said, well, I could take it, but I'm scared that I might lose it. Now you're like the one talent man who said, I'm going to bury it in the ground to make sure I don't lose it. At least when you come back, I'll give you back what you had. But remember, I said I want 10,200, not just 10,000. So if you give me back the late 10,000, you failed the contract. Or I feel optimistic about trying to increase it before I have to return it. If you have that kind of optimism, combined with relevant ideas that you would like to try out, chances are you will be able to increase it. Here are some ingredients to being an increaser. Number one, do not be afraid to gather information and ask questions, because knowledge is money. You know, suppose you decide, right, I want to take this money and become a wedding cake decorator, but you have never decorated a cake in your life. Then what you need to do is invest in yourself. Ask questions, volunteer to help people who are decorating their cakes, go online and learn how to decorate cakes, and there's thousands of YouTube clips about how to do everything in the world, and then you acquire a skill. And then you invest a little bit of that money in the equipment, and then some cake icing, and then you start practicing. And while you're practicing, you may not be able to sell what you've done, because it may not be good enough, but you practice and you give it to people. You know what I mean? I've been trying to do this cake decorating. Here is it for your birthday. Oh, it's not too bad, but because it's free, no one's going to complain. You do another cake decorating, you show it to your friends, you give it to your family, you eat it. And gradually, you're developing yourself. Eventually, someone says, you know what? That cake is outstanding. That's brilliant. Can you make me one for my birthday? Now you're getting ready to do business. Business starts the time you make your first sale and have your first satisfied customer. So you say to them, well, I'm starting a business in cake decorating. I'm not fully professional yet, so I'll just charge you £50 for this one. If they agree, you go and you make your cake and you give it to them. If they're happy with it, you say to them, tell all your friends that I made the cake and I'm doing this business. And if they have any functions, come to me and I'll give them a discount because I'm just starting up. A simple idea like that, you gradually develop. And by the end of the year, you have made more than the additional £200. So when I say bring me my 10,000 plus 200, you bring me 10,000 plus 200, and you probably have 5,000 or 6,000 yourself that you've earned from the making of these cakes. So whatever you do, develop it. And I remember when I was a child, and this greatly influenced me, and I see it falling away in churches, but I want to revive it. And I'm telling people to revive this in their churches. How many of you remember the days when there was a Sabbath school investment program? Just raise your hand if you remember that. I'll tell you what happened. When I was a child, I was in Sabbath school, and every quarter, every 2 quarters, they would have a Sabbath school investment program. What they would do is say, if you want to take part in this scheme, raise your hand, and they'll give you an envelope with probably £10 in it. And you have to go and do some investment project with that £10, and then at the end of the quarter, you bring it back with whatever you have increased, and that will be used for the church building fund or whatever it is we're raising money for. And I remember I did it every time. I take the £10, I'd go and buy flour, I'd go and buy eggs and sugar, and I'd bake cakes and bring them to youth club, and I'd sell them. Or I'd go and buy pizza bases, buy cheese, put tomatoes on it, come to youth club, sell them in slices, put the money on one side, and everybody was at it. All the young people had some scheme. They'd go and wash each other's car, wash the adults' cars, you know, invest the money in soap and equipment, wash the cars, take the money. And we became so energetic and entrepreneurial with that scheme as young people. And then what we did, when we all brought back our money so we could put it in the church building fund, then we would share how we expanded it. And that's where I got all these ideas from. Because everybody's idea was brilliant, and every one of those ideas was a potential business. Because if you can make a small amount of money doing something, you can make a large amount of money doing a large scale of the same thing. And some of those same young people became business people using the same ideas they started off in the church investment program. And the wonderful thing about when you're young is that there is low risk. Because if you fail, then the risk is not high. You know, you tried, you failed, you didn't make any money, so your parents will give you £10 and say, give it back to them. You didn't make any money. If you succeeded, you came, you gave the money with the interest, and you shared the idea. But when you do that, you start developing a way of thinking. And after a while, you think like that all the time. So every time you see an amount of money, you immediately think, how can I increase this? how can I duplicate this? How can I make this grow? And that is the kind of thinking that creates progress. And the more you think about it, the more ideas come to your mind. Now, don't be afraid to talk to each other and share your ideas. Now, there is an idea, some people think, well, if I share my idea, then you will do it, or you may do it better than me, and I will then have no business left. If you think like that, you will always be limited to what you can think about. If you realize that the world is bigger and big enough for both of us, then you'll be able to start working in groups and teams. There were 3 young people who were speaking to me, and they were all renting a house. They were sharing a rented house. It was a 3-bedroom house, and 3 of them were renting the house. And I said to them, have any of you done any business before? And they said, no. I said, have any of you thought about buying a house? And each of them said, we don't have enough money to buy a house. And they were right. But I said to them, but all 3 of you put together has enough money to buy a house. And for a moment, it suddenly dawned on them, all 3 of us are paying rent to this same one landlord. And yet, our joint rent is far greater than a mortgage would be required on a house the same size. So when the penny dropped, they went away, cooperated together, and bought a joint property, all 3 of them. And the mortgage that they had to pay was less than half of the rent that they were paying for a house the same size. So now they had 2 ways of increasing their income by just working together. Number 1, their mortgage was less than the rent, so immediately every month they had more money. Number 2, the money that they had saved and invested in the house was growing because the house was increasing in value. So there is value in working together, and you can achieve things by working together that you could never achieve on your own, provided you can find people that you can trust. That's where you need to ask for wisdom. Because sometimes we are afraid to trust each other because we are so competitive. But there is more wealth to be created by cooperation than competition. If you look at the big Shire horse, the Shire horses that pull the plows, each horse can pull a certain amount of weight. So suppose, for example, that one horse can pull a weight of 500 pounds. 2 horses together can pull a weight of more than 1,000 pounds. I don't know how it works, but somehow because of the cooperation between the horses and the motivation between the horses, 2 of them can pull more than double the amount that 1 can pull. So there is value. It's called synergy, where 1 plus 1 can add up to more than 2, because now you get a cooperative effect. Think about it like the relay. I heard a sermon by Pastor Ian Sweeney about this. The world record for the 400 meters is probably about 47.5 seconds or something like that. But the world record for the 4x4 relay is about 2 seconds faster. So if you get 4 people to run the same 400 meters and they hand the baton over after each 100, their record is faster than any single person can run that race by themselves. So there is value in working together. You can achieve more than any of you could possibly have done by yourself. So don't say, I don't have enough to start an investment, I can't manage this by myself. Work together with someone. Ask God to guide you to someone who you can trust. It may be a family member, it may be a non-family member, but ask God to guide you. And here is a word of warning. Be careful about doing business with unbelievers, because the principles that they may want to put in practice may not be your principles. And then you will not be able to enjoy the profits that have been created when corners have been cut. So only form business alliances with people who share the same principles as you. because then we're working on the same page. If you own a number of prestige cars, would you consider your cars to be a good investment? You see, if you say yes because each car is worth lots of money, they're only worth lots of money on the first day. Second day they're worth less, third day they're worth less, and they're going down all the time. You know, what is the main difference between an asset and a liability? So think about it for a moment and answer me. What's the main difference between an asset and a liability? Because when you decided, I'm going to ask you a number of things and ask you, is this an asset or a liability? And I want you to answer me. So, first of all, what's the difference between an asset and a liability in your mind? Yeah?
An asset will increase its value over time, a liability will decrease its value.
Okay, an asset increases its value over time, and a liability decreases its value. Yes, what was your answer?
An asset grows and another one decreases.
Yes, asset grows, another one decreases. Okay, so yes, tell me your
I was
definition.
going to say an asset belongs to you,
Asset belongs to you.
whereas a liability it just leads you into debt. It's just something that you're
Okay.
responsible for.
I'm going to ask you some other questions about this, and then I'm going to give you my definition of what an asset and a liability is. Yes?
Peace of mind for an asset.
Peace of mind for
For
an asset, headache for a liability.
good health and bad health.
Good health and bad health. Okay, so if I buy a brand new car, is that an asset or a liability? Why is it a liability?
Maintenance costs.
Yes, maintenance cost.
The minute you drive out the showroom, it loses the VAT.
Loses VAT, it depreciates. Yes.
Sorry, but what type of the car are you talking about? I think you need to specify. Are you talking about a BMW there, or are you talking about what type of the car?
Doesn't make a
No, it
difference.
makes a difference.
Okay,
No, it makes a difference.
a new car, a new Ford Focus.
Depends what you're going to do.
Ford Focus, okay.
Is that an asset or a
Depends what you're going to
liability?
do with the car.
Okay,
If it's a commercial vehicle, it won't be a liability.
okay, good. I'll come to that in a minute.
If you're worried where you're going to, if you're going to drive on a road that's been newly surfaced, you're going to get all scratched. You're worried where you're going to park it.
Okay.
Someone is
Yes?
is it a liability and a
Is it an asset or a liability?
asset is something that increase your profit.
Mhm.
Liability is something that decrease your profit.
Okay, very good. So here is my definition, which is very similar to yours. An asset is something that brings money in to your account. A liability is something that takes money out of your account. So if something is on a weekly or monthly basis increasing your net worth, it is an asset. If it is decreasing your net worth, taking money out of your account is a liability. So a car could be an asset or a liability depending on what you're going to do with it. If you buy it and put it in the garage and say I'm going to sell it next year, it's a liability. Because while it's in the garage, it's depreciating. You still have to pay insurance for it in case it gets stolen. And if you want to drive it around the block, you still have to pay your road tax unless you stolen it, put it off the road. So that's a liability. But if you're buying a car to run a taxi service and you earn more for the taxi service than the repayments due on the car, then it becomes an asset because money is coming in. So it is about the direction of cash flow. So next question then. If I buy a house, is the house an asset or a liability? Say asset. Asset?
It could be
Okay, I get various answers.
I think it's a liability until you finish paying the mortgage.
You think it's a liability?
I think it partly depends on why you're buying the home and the purpose for the home.
Okay.
Or the house, whichever way you want to describe it. You know, if you're buying a home for the family and career, etc., then consider, and you've got no intention of selling it, at least for a long-term future.
Yes.
Then I think it would always be deemed as an asset for that reason. whether it's an asset or a liability could also determine or be determined by the area you buy the house and what happens in the area over a period of time.
Okay.
Where once if you walk into the area at one point in time and then suddenly for one reason or another it becomes a poor area because of reason of school or other building work or things like that, or flying over air route or something like that, and noises. Those kind of things can influence the value of the property over a period of time.
Very good. Okay. Yes.
In a softening market or falling market, it becomes a liability. In a rising market, it's an asset.
Okay. You answer at the back.
Yeah, I was just going to say it depends on what you buy it for as well. Just also thinking in the context of your testimonies, where it depends on the setup of the whole thing and whether money is coming in or you're just paying mortgage, or actually you're also getting some profit on it and going on holiday.
Okay. Good.
Generally speaking, all things being equal, over a period of time, over a longer period of time, it generally appreciates and becomes an asset. The short to medium term, depending on the factors that are involved, the usage, the area, and so on and so forth, it could go either which way, but generally speaking, over a longer period of time, it generally works out to be an asset.
So, even though money is going out of your account every month for this, you're hoping that in the long run, the overall value of the house will go up. So, concerning your first house, whether the value is going up or down, because you need somewhere to live, it could probably be classified as a necessary liability until you finish paying for it. And then whatever increase becomes totally yours. Now there are different ways of using housing market. There is the cash flow way and the speculative way. Let's talk about second house now. So you've already got your place where you need to live, because everybody has to have a base of some description. So you're buying a second house. If I buy a second house, and my view is to fix up the house and then resell it straight away as soon as it's finished to make a profit, is that house that I have bought, and that's the second house which I've invested in to redecorate and sell off, is that an asset or a liability? Okay, who says it's an asset? Raise your hand. Who says it's a liability? Raise your hand. Okay, so give me your answer then. It's out liability since that's the smallest number of hands.
After you sell it, you need make a certain amount of money off it. And then that's for only the time. And then it come. That's how I understand.
Okay.
It's a liability until you sell it for a profit.
It's a liability until you sell it, because it's taking money out until you sell it. Okay. Yes?
I'll say it's an asset because even if you're going to take maybe 6 months to sell it, by the time you sell it, if you make a profit out of it, then it's worth it.
Okay. So here we're moving into an area where you have to distinguish between risk and speculation. Because if your hope, no matter how well you decorate the house and how much money you put into it, you are still relying upon the market conditions. Because you could have a market fall in general house prices and you can end up losing the money. That happened to me once. I bought a house for £120,000 and I spent £20,000 increasing its value, putting a new kitchen, retiled it, redecorated it with new heating system, new windows. And then when I was ready to sell it, the housing market crashed. And it was only worth £120,000. So the £20,000 that I put to increase it was wasted and lost. But because I had to move anyway, because I had been reassigned to a different district. And that was my main house. So when you're looking at a house, and you're looking at buying it with the view to selling it for a profit, you're entering now into an area of risk. And now you have to decide whether it is a reasonable risk or an unreasonable risk. So if, for example, the value that you are putting into the house is greater than the likely fluctuation in house prices, then chances are the value that you put in, you will get it back out when you sell. However, if you're relying more on the fluctuation of the market than the value you put in, and buying it hoping that the market itself will just raise the value for you, now you're in a level of speculation where you have little control. And that's where you get the sleepless nights, wondering what the house prices are going to do, because they're out of your control. If, however, you bought the house and you had two plans, a plan for the fall and a plan for the rise, then you can consider it to be an asset, because you're going to win at each stage. So here is a win-win way to buy a second house, even if you want to sell it. If you buy a house and you fix it up, and then you say, right, I put a certain amount of money into it, I now want to sell it for a certain amount of profit. If at the time when you want to resell it, you don't get the price that you want for the extra labor you've put in, then you can go to investment model number 2 and rent the house out. Providing that the rent is more than the mortgage that you are paying, then that house becomes an asset to you while you are waiting for house prices to rise. And then it doesn't matter how long it takes for the house price to rise. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, because while you are waiting, you are earning. Then that becomes a pure asset to you, because every month it is putting money into your account more than it is taking out for its mortgage. And then at a certain time when the house prices rise high enough, then you can sell it. But while you were waiting, you were still earning. The unsafe way to do that kind of investment is where the house, the deposit you put in was so small and the mortgage so high that the mortgage is higher than the rent. So now you're getting in £700 a month from the rent, but your mortgage is £900. So every month you're taking your earnings from your day job and subsidizing the house by £200 a month. Under those conditions, you become more and more desperate to get rid of this house, because every month it is costing you more and more. Which means when you eventually sell it, you need to sell it for enough money to make a profit and recoup all those £200 subsidies that you put in along the way. That is investing in a liability, because while you're waiting to make a profit, it's taking money out of your account, and by the time you sell it, there's still no guarantee that you'll make a profit, because house prices may have generally fallen by then. So if you're going to do that, make sure that you create the investment in such a way that you are a win-win. If prices go up, you win by selling. If prices go down, you win by renting while you're waiting. And that way, you'll create an asset. So when I say, is it an asset or a liability, the true answer is, it depends on how you set it up. You can set it up as a liability, or you can set it up as an asset. If you set it up as an asset, then you will have peace of mind, because either way, you're not losing any money. What type of shopper are you? If you are an impulse shopper, you are more likely to waste money on things that you don't need. If you are one of those people that only buy what you intended to buy, you will not waste any money, but you may not discover anything new. So you need to be somewhere in the middle. You need to know what you're going to the shop for. You need to be able to observe what is there, but decide whether you need it or not. And if you observe something that is there, but you don't need it, you have the discipline to leave it. But at least you're aware of what is there. You know, one of the things I learned when I was early in my days, early days, I used to fix up houses that I lived in. But I didn't know, to begin with, how to do all these various DIY jobs. What tools do I need? So I'd go on YouTube and watch people doing them and think, oh, that's how you do it. And then I'd go to the big DIY stores and just walk down every aisle and look at all the tools. And ask people, what is that tool for? How do you use it? What do you do with that? And just gather knowledge. I didn't buy any of them, but when I needed a tool, I knew what was available. And I knew how much they costed, and I knew how to use them. So if you're shopping to gather knowledge, that's good. But have the discipline only to buy what you need and leave the rest. How often do you think of business ideas? If you never think of business ideas, then you'll never have any business. If you always think about business ideas, then you will be able to sift. Because only some of them will be profitable, and some of them will not be profitable. But the more you have, the more you can sift through. You know, when I was doing my higher education, someone said to me, when you're writing an essay, you'll probably find that no matter how good your first sentence is, that will never make it to the final draft of your essay. Because by the time you get to the end, you will have changed everything. So don't be too protective of your very first idea, because it will change as you develop and as you learn and as you grow. But just continue to think, continue to be open to ideas, continue to listen to people who are trying new things, and consider possibilities. And the more you think, the more ideas you have, the more likelihood you'll find one that you'll be able to carry through and one that will work. But if you don't think of any, you will never have any. As my mother said to me, if you don't send any ships out, no ships will come in. And you'll never win a battle if you don't fight any battles. And you'll never succeed if you don't try anything. And you never win any races if you don't run in any of them. So you have to have ideas and try them. And if they fail, make adjustments or change the ideas and keep working until you find one that works. Which of the opinions below do you think is most important for one wishing to start a business? A healthy fear of failure, clear ideas with relevant specific knowledge and experience, and academic qualifications. You know, fear is never a good thing. So fear of failure is not a good thing. We should be aware of failure, but not be afraid of failure. Because fear cripples your creativity. I'll give you an example. If I drew a straight line on the ground, on the floor, and said to you, how many of you can walk along that line without stepping off the line? All of you would be willing to have a try. But if I raised a piece of wood this high off the ground and said, it's the same line, but just above here, can you walk along the same line? The same skill would be required, but now the fear of falling off would be greater. And because of the fear of falling off, the skill of walking will be diminished. Because the same part of your mind that should be focusing on the walking will be focusing on how you're going to land when you fall. That's what fear does. If you're afraid of failure, the part of your mind that should be focused on creativity will be focusing on the shame of failure and the consequences of failure. And you will never succeed to the extent that you could, because your full mind will be focused forward. It's like trying to drive forward and spending too much time looking in the rear-view mirror. You need to be aware of what's behind you, but your job is ahead of you. And you need to be aware of that. So, fear is never a good thing. Awareness of danger is good, but fear will only limit your creativity. There are some people who think that the way to success is academic qualifications, and the higher your qualifications, the better your success. This is only partially true, because many of the top jobs were not given because somebody had a higher qualification. It was given because of the qualifications plus other attributes that they had. How well do they communicate? How well do they present themselves? How well do they work as a team? How creative are they when they're set to work on their own? You know, when I was a child, I used to think that the more qualifications you had, the higher the job you had. And if somebody got a better job than you with less qualifications, it was not fair. But that's not how the world works. Qualifications are just a starting point, but you have to develop other things with it. So, for example, if I want to be an engineer, I need some basic qualifications. So first, suppose I do a degree in engineering. Right. In order to become a top engineer, I need to take that degree and get out there and get some real experience. If I say, no, I want to get a better job, so I stay in university and get a master's degree in engineering. And then I stay in university and get a PhD in engineering. And then I come out of university with a PhD in mechanical engineering. Will that get me a top job? No, because I have no experience. I have never worked in a real life. So you need to balance qualifications with real experience and let them grow together. And if one grows too far beyond the other, you will end up frustrated by applying for jobs that you will never get because the level of experience they expect from you, you don't have. In order to succeed in business, you need clear, relevant knowledge and experience. The knowledge can be gained from the qualifications or by the trial and error form of knowledge that you develop over time. But you need to combine your learning with experience. It's like two legs. If you're going to run, you need two strong legs. And the two legs of success is knowledge and experience. Qualifications will strengthen the knowledge leg, but you must build experience, even if you have to get volunteer experience, just to get the experience to come up to the level of your knowledge. And then, when they match, someone will employ you to be a runner. Now, if I want to get onto a team, and it's a sprint team, and I say, well, my left leg is really weak, but my right leg is very strong. But I can't run very well in a straight line with one weak leg. So build together. Grow your experience and your qualifications. And finally, which of the business models do you prefer? You know, see, I want to be a sole trader with no one else involved in my business. That's not a bad business model. You can live with that, but you'll only be a level 1 business. And when you're on holiday, your earnings will stop. When you're sick, your earnings will stop. When you're tired, you can't work anymore, your earnings will stop. But you can make a living as a level 1 business if you just want to do it all by yourself and you can't trust anyone to work with you. Some people are like that because they've had bad experiences working with people who've stolen their ideas or sabotaged their business. But never let a bad experience stop you from trusting anybody forever, because you could limit yourself. There are people who do that with love. You know, they trusted someone, they loved them with their whole heart, and they were betrayed by that person, they were cheated on, and they say, right, I will never love anyone again. Never let your failure stop you from trying. So if you had an experience where somebody you trusted let you down, don't say, I will never trust anyone again. You may say, I'll never trust that person again, but don't put everybody into the same basket. Because if you do, you limit yourself to being a sole trader, and there's only so far you can go with the amount of time and energy you have in one lifetime. Level 2, which is A, says I want to be involved in every aspect of the business, from production right through to marketing and strategic planning. So you may employ people, but you micromanage everything that they do. Every day you're checking through all the accounts. Every day you're going to the room and checking the stock yourself. Every day you're calling people for a report. You may succeed. You might not provoke your employees if you work like that. But you will succeed. You'll get to level 2 business. But still, you won't go much higher than that, than a small business. But if you're able to find people that you can trust so that you can focus on the strategic overview of the business, and leave other people to work on the day-to-day parts of the business, then you can start to consider infinite expansion. So suppose you have a product that you're selling, and you're selling it yourself, you're advertising it yourself, you're delivering it yourself. There's only so far you can go with that. If you want to move to level 2, you need to find at least one other person you can trust and say, right, which aspect of the business do I want to offload? Maybe the delivery. So you say to somebody, I can't afford to pay you as a driver, but can I pay you per delivery? So every time I have delivery, can I just pay you to do it? And they say yes. So then when you have a delivery, you work out the cost of the delivery, negotiate a payment with them, so that at least they can deliver and still leave enough money left for your profits. If you do that, your profits will go down slightly, but your potential will increase. Because now you can deliver to more people at the same time. And gradually, by increasing your customer base, you can gradually build up. But still, you'll only be at a level 2. If you want to move to a level 3, you think, well, what else can I offload? Well, I need to advertise. I need to find out how to get other people to be aware of my business. And I can't, my word of mouth is only with a small circle of friends. So then you've got to find out who can help me to advertise. Now you might think, well, I don't tell anybody what I'm doing. But then you may, by not telling people what you're doing, you'll miss out on the cheapest form of success. Because strangers will charge you the highest prices. Did you say to your friends or people that you know, look, I have a product, I'm trying to advertise it, do you know anybody can help me? Then they might say, well, you know what? I've got a YouTube channel, and I get loads of people on my channel all the time. I can put an advert for you on my channel. And I will just charge you a commission. If you sell any extra and people quote that they got it from my channel, you pay me a certain amount. So there are lots of ways of increasing the potential of your business without paying up front. Just gather people who understand what you're doing and pay them a commission according to the value that they add to your business. And by doing that and by trusting people, you can start to gradually expand and expand and expand. So these are the principles behind the questionnaire that you have all filled in. So look at the columns and see where you are and which column has the highest score. And then ask yourself, what kind of thinking do I need to adopt in order to get all my answers to be in the right-hand column? And then pray about it. If you've got answers in column 1 or column 2, when they really need to be in column 3, pray about those things. Ask God how to help you to change those things. Ask people to give you information of how to change. And work on these aspects one at a time. And eventually, the way you think will start to shift. And when it shifts in the right direction, your potential will automatically shift in the same way. Well, our time is up, so just before we close, I'll take any final questions, and then we will pray. Any questions or comments to close? Yes?
What's probably the only thing that you've invested in? Was that?
Well, my personal investments have only been in, well, they've been in 3 areas: properties and cars and online publications. So I had a car business. I used to be interested in, I'm still interested in cars, I drive one. But when I was younger, I was interested in sports cars, because when you're young, you like to drive fast everywhere you go. So I followed my interest. I thought, well, I'm interested in sports cars. So where can I get a faster car from? So I made all kinds of inquiries, how to upgrade the quality of your engine, how to change the chips to make your engine higher performance. And so I thought, oh good, I know how to upgrade certain engines. So I started telling my friends, you know, I can increase the power of your engine for you with these special techniques and these computer chips and remapping your programs. And so I charged them a fee for upgrading their engines. So I started selling my knowledge to them. And after a while I thought, you know what? I want to sell high quality, high performance sports cars. So I started looking around and asking people, where can I get a really high quality sports car from cheap? And I was talking to people about my idea. I want to sell high performance sports cars. And I could have thought people would steal my ideas, but I told them anyway. And everybody said, well, you can get this car's quite good, this car's quite good. And then somebody said to me, import one. And I never thought about that before, importing a car. So I then went online, where you can find out everything in the world, and found out how to import a car, what kind of cars were around. And I discovered that there was a car, in Japan, there are different laws. You see, when you start to search, you start to find out things. There's some laws in Japan, like here we have an MOT every year. But in Japan, when you buy a new car, maybe it's easy with this country, you don't need to pay an MOT till about the 3rd year.
Yeah.
Now, there are certain class of cars in Japan, and some of the top Lexuses, whereby the type of people who buy them do not want to be seen driven in a car older than 3 years. So if they have to go beyond that expensive MOT phase and they're still driving it, then it's like you can't afford to be driving that car. You shouldn't be driving it at that age. So these cars, when they get to year 3, they drop in value. Because the people who buy them don't want to be seen in that car beyond the 3rd year. And the people that can't afford them still don't want to buy them because they can't afford the insurance. So I discovered that these cars, 3-year-old, 4-year-old Lexus, were quite cheap in Japan. At that particular time, the exchange rate was very profitable. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a chance and bring one. So I made some inquiries with many people that I knew how to buy a car from Japan. And I eventually, after many months of inquiries and getting information with people, I found out how to import a car. And I bought my first car, and it cost me £4,500. The mileometer was, the speedometer was in kilometers, so I had it converted to miles, digital. And then they had no fog lights on the back, because Japanese cars don't have fog lights. So I went to a mechanic who did the electrics and got a fog light fitted and a button on the dashboard so I can switch the fog lights on, and made sure that it was up to UK spec, and then had it registered. By the time everything finished, it was about £5,000. So then I advertised it to see how much can I sell this car for. And someone bought it for £9,000. And immediately I thought, I've got a business. I've made £4,000. I'll do it again. So I did it again, and again, and again, and again. And so I started making £4,000 per car on average by bringing these cars over from Japan. But that was just level 1 business. Because it was a slow process. I had to bring them over. They came over to Holland. Then I had to drive to the port, catch the ferry to Holland, go to the place where they were, register them, then drive them back on the ferry, drive them back. It was a long-winded process. So there's not many times you can keep going abroad to pick up these cars and coming back. And then one day I thought, why don't I pay someone to go to Holland and bring the car back for me, to save me time? So I started making inquiries, and I found out you can get freight forwarding companies that do that for a living. So I contacted a freight forwarding company and said, well, how much would you charge to register the car? I'll provide you all the information and drive it over for me. And they wanted £1,000. But that would mean I could make £3,000 on the car, but I wouldn't have to drive over there or go over there. Which means I can bring over twice as many now because I'm not using my time. So even though the profits went down, the number of cars went up, so the overall profits went up. So I started getting it freight forwarded. And then I thought, well, why don't I speed up the process further? Because when they brought to me, I still had to bring them to the garage, I still had to get them converted, I still had to go to the garage and pick them up, and then I had to then deliver them to the customers. So I thought, why don't I pay someone to freight forward it straight to the garage? I speak to the garage, tell them what needed to be done, put the money on their accounts online. When they're finished, get it freight forwarded from the garage to the customer. Because inland freight forwarding was only about £200. So I tried that. And I got it freight forwarded to the garage. I paid the garage, I didn't even see the car, and then I got it freight forwarded to the customer, and they paid me online. And I ended up making about £3,000 profit on the car. But that was £3,000 profit without leaving my house. Everything was now phone calls, emails, and internet. So then I discovered I can import as many as I want, because now I'm not using any of my time. And then I expanded, almost exponentially. Every time I saw a car that was bargain, I brought it over. Because I didn't need to go and collect it. I sent it to the garage, I got another car for you. He was glad for the business, he did the cars. When they're ready, I said, another company, he was glad for the business because he was a freight forwarder, take the car to the customer, the customer had the car, put the money in my account. The whole thing became automated. So whatever business you do, you may start off as a sole trader, doing everything yourself, but you need to quickly say, how can I move to the next stage and build myself out of it? Because as soon as you can get yourself out of it, then you can expand without limit. So the thing that I have done in my short lifetime is properties and cars, because that's what I was interested in. But if you're thinking of a business, think about what you are interested in, and then do a business based upon that. Because if you're doing something you're not interested in, or you don't know much about, then you will probably fail because you won't have the relevant knowledge to deal with technicalities of the business. If I didn't know anything about cars, I wouldn't know which cars to buy, I wouldn't know what to tell the garage to do to them, I wouldn't know whether I bought a good car or a bad car, whether or not my customers will get a reliable car from me or an unreliable. So you need knowledge. So that's me, just the two things I did business in when I was younger. Information selling, I have done some of that. Writing things, put them online, people download them and buy them. That little book I told you about is still online now. People are buying it all the time. And that's like an income stream, a passive income in the background. Every month I notice money's coming into my account. Oh, somebody has bought my book. And I'm not selling it to them. It's already there online, it's already written. I'm not paying anybody to advertise it to me. The money is just trickling in. There are some people that earn a whole living just by doing that. They write a book, puts it up online, write another book, put that online, write another book, puts it online, and just keep writing more. And they've got 10, 20, 30 books, and a little trickle of income is coming in from each book in the background for doing nothing. Once it's done, it pays you forever. So, that was me.
What's the name of the book again?
Oh, what's the name of my book? The book that's online at the moment is called The Rich, the Poor, and the Foolish by Paul and Liburd. So you can buy it online. Yes.
Have you got any gauge as to what kind of responses you get from these questionnaires, as you go to different churches in terms of, the Adventist Church in the UK, if you like? Is the larger chunk in the foolish or the poor or the rich? I mean, have you got any feeling as to what kind of margins and what kind of proportions fall into each category?
Yes. With the seminars I have done so far, the majority of people have the highest column in the middle, which is like they're just surviving, they're just coping, they're just maintaining, they're just avoiding failure, but they're not moving far ahead. So the thought of increasing is frightening, and the thought of failure is frightening. So they stay in the safe middle and just make sure that they get through to the end of the month. And next month they do the same again. And if they live their whole life without falling into debt, they call that a success. But maintenance is not success. Because Jesus said of in the parable, the servants who brought back the full 1 talent that they were given. They maintained it. They didn't lose it, but they didn't increase it. And he said, you're unfaithful. You're not good. Give it to me. I didn't give it to the person who had 10. So too many people are in that category. Just keep it safe. Don't lose anything. But I don't want to risk anything either, so I'll just keep it safe. And if you keep it safe, you will live, but tomorrow will be the same as today. And next year will be the same as this year. So that's what I've noticed. 1 and then 2.
Yesterday you mentioned a little bit about returning time and stuff like that. What would be the position on, or should a business making a profit pay tithe on the business?
Of course. You see, whatever increase you make.
What is the business, not the individual?
Well, you see, who the business belongs to is the money. Yes, but whoever is benefiting from that business, like if you have a business and no one's benefiting from it, then what is it for? So, no matter how you register the business, whoever benefits from that business is the one who should return the tithe on it. So, if the business produces some increase for you, it is that increase that you return your tithe on. There are some who say, well, what if I have 2 businesses, and one's making a profit and one's making a loss? Shall I just average the 2 out and say, okay, I've made nothing, so therefore I return no tithe? Or shall I return the tithe on the one that made a profit and just absorb the loss from the one that made a loss? That's a personal choice that you have to decide. But tithing is a faith journey. And a young lady came to me and she said, I'm doing various businesses, I'm doing various things, and I'm just about surviving. So she was in the middle column. And I can't afford to pay tithe now because it will weaken my prospects. But later on, maybe I will. So I said to her, Well, the Bible says, prove me now, if I will not open windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. So here is how you prove God. I said, at the beginning I said, how much money do you normally have at the end of a working month? She said, I normally have no money. I normally kind of just about break even. I said, good. Here is how to prove God. At the beginning of the month, take out your tithe in cash, put it in a jar, and put it on the shelf in your house, and leave it alone. If at the end of that month, as a result of taking out that money, you are worse off, then go to the jar and take the money back. If as a result of leaving it there, you are better off, then return that money to God, because it's God's money. So let God prove himself to you. So she agreed. At the beginning of the month, she took the tithe out in cash, put it on the shelf in a container, and continued with the month. By the end of the month, she calculated her figures, and she realized that she was no worse off than the previous month when she had not returned the tithe. So she said, okay, I've broken even, I'm no worse off, so I'll return that to God. The next month, she did it again. Put the tithe one side and worked through the month. And by the end of the month, she had made a slight increase on the previous month, despite the fact that the money was already there in cash. So she returned that to God. And eventually she said, you know what? I believe. And she just started returning faithfully. So God says, don't just do it, but do it to prove me. Give me a chance to prove myself to you if I will not open windows of heaven. And God will open opportunities, He will bring people in your way, He will give you information, He will help you to notice things that you didn't notice before, and He will increase your knowledge and your wisdom. And the things, because part of the promise He says, I will rebuke the devourer for your sake, and the locust will not destroy your crops and so on. So God is saying, I will bless you in one of two ways. I will either increase what is coming in, or I will decrease the expenditure that is going out. Either way, you'll be better off. So my answer is, it's a faith journey. If you want to take the journey, try it. And God will quickly prove himself to you, and then you will know that God is honoring his own word.
Yes, because I got involved in that question. Well, for me, I'm trying to remember what I was going to ask. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, we're just about to close. So I'll take your last question.
Okay, what's your opinion in investing in the stock market, stock exchange?
Okay, when you're talking about investing in the stock exchange, you first have to understand what a stock exchange is, and then what you're doing or are trying to do. So, a stock market is a way of sharing somebody else's investment and hopefully sharing in their profits. So let me explain to you the principles of the stock market in a small way. Suppose I want to buy a car. Well, not say a car, because a car is going to go down in value. Suppose I want to buy
pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Okay. Some product that I expect to go up in value. Suppose it's all right. I'm going to buy, 20 bottles of this juice, and then I'm going to sell it for a certain amount. So
that would be just good.
That's 20 bottles. I'm going to buy 20 bottles of Juice Divine, because I have somebody that will buy it from me at twice the price. So I'm going to buy yours, and I'm going to sell it on to someone else who wants to pay me more. But I don't have enough money to buy the amount that I need from you. So I say to someone, do you want to join me? You pay, suppose I want to buy, £500 worth of Juice Divine, and I want to sell it to somebody who's going to pay me £700 for that batch. So in my mind, it's a good deal. You benefit because you sell yours, I take the money and I sell to them and I make the profit. But suppose I don't have the £500 to begin with. So I go to my sister and say, I'm going to buy £500 worth of Juice Divine from my brother, and I'm going to sell it to this one for £700, but I don't have £500, I only have £250. So do you want to come in with me at £250, and then I'll take the money, and then I'll sell it for £700, and then we'll divide the £700, and we'll have £350 each when we finish. If you agree, then you have shared my investment, but you also share the risk. Because suppose I can take the money, I spend £500, buy the juice divine, and then the person I'm going to sell to pulls out and say, I no longer want the juice, I found it cheaper somewhere else, and I've already got the stock. Now I'm stuck. I've now got to transfer it off cheap to try and get some of my money back. So even though I have a good business plan, there is a risk that I could fail. So when you come in with me with your £250, hoping that you can get 50% of 700 when it's all finished, you enter into the risk that I may not succeed, and so you may lose your money as well. So when you share the business with me, you are sharing the potential success, but you're also agreeing to share the potential failure. So if I sell and make a profit, you own half. If I lose some of the money, then I lose some of your money as well. Now what the stock exchange does is simply enables you to share the business of other people, even though you don't even know them or not sure what they're doing. So if you find a business and you agree with what they're doing, and it is an ethical business, and a business whose principles you accept and uphold, and you want to support that business in principle, and then you join yourself to that business, you enter into the risk that if they succeed, you succeed with them. If they fail, you will share the failure with them. But if the business is a good thing that you want to support anyway, then even if they fail and you lose some money, you may still think, well, it was still worthwhile because the thing that the business was doing was a good thing anyway. So the stock exchange, I see your hand, is a way of gathering people together to help to invest in other people's business so that they can raise the capital to do. But when you join to them, you join the risk of the success and the failure. So you have to decide, what kind of business are they doing? What principles do they operate by? Am I happy with the ethical standards of the business? Do I want to support what that business stands for? And if they should lose some money in the process, am I still happy that I supported a business that I believe in? And it is upon answering those questions that you should decide whether or not to invest in a business with someone else or not. Because all the stock exchange is a way of putting investors together with entrepreneurs. Now, there are some people who take the stock exchange to the extreme speculative limit, where it just becomes like a random gamble. They don't know anything about the businesses, or the ethics, or the people, or what the business stands for. They just see, well, this business is going up, let me buy it to go up with it. Or this business is going down, so when it goes down, let me buy it because maybe it'll come back up again. And now they're randomly speculating on businesses that you don't even know what they do. You have to be very careful about the random speculation, because you could be supporting criminals, you could be supporting money launderers, you could be supporting terrorists. So if you are getting involved in any kind of business, make sure you know what they do, how they do it, why they do it, and only if you agree with all of their principles right down to the outcome of their business should you be able to decide whether or not you want to support them. So that's my answer to stock exchange. And I see your hand and I'll come back to you.
Christ said to occupy himself until we come, occupy ourselves until he comes. How do we put this, everything that we have taught so far, I've agreed with, how do we put this into last day events? Because I believe we're in the last days.
Yes.
Yes, I believe we are the tones. How do we put these businesses into last days? Should we think, we should think we have 1,000 years, but we don't. So how do we put this into last day events? I was able to wait up with Ellen Whitehouse, and she says, she counsels against debt as well, that we should plan for food, be self-sufficient. How do we put mortgages, all these things into last day events? Because we're looking forward to Christ coming as well as we're occupying ourselves. And being self-sufficient and running our own businesses. I just want an overall
Very
view.
good question.
You know,
Yes.
because if I'm not thinking of that we're in the last days, then I would have a totally different view towards business. I'd be shrewd and I'd have a total outlook towards business. But because I'm looking towards Christ coming, my view of how I do things, and I know time is upon us and we can't be sleeping at this point. So I'm asking for your opinion.
Very good. So a number of answers to that question which are very important. We are in the last days, so Jesus could come any moment. So if I'm planning with an investment that's not going to produce a return for 20 or 30 years, could that money be used better for the kingdom of God and be tied up for the future that may never come? That's a very good question. The Bible says about the way God thinks. It says, with God, 1,000 years is like a day, and the day is like 1,000 years. So if God says, because of mercy, I'm going to wait one more day for the sinners to repent. That could be another 1,000 years, or it could be another day, or it could be another hour. So we do not know. In the early 80s, when I was in a youth in Nottingham, there was a movement going on among the youth, a last day event movement. Young people get very much tied up in these things, and sometimes for the wrong reasons as well. I was studying with a group of young people who were very keen on studying the last days, and yet I noticed that some of them were going to clubs, pubs, and nightclubs, and studying last day events at the same time, which seemed very incompatible to me. So I said to them one day, why are you living these double lives, studying hard last day events and clubbing at the same time? And the person looked at me as if, you should know, don't you know? And I said, no. He said, we're studying last day events because we want to know how much time we have left. So they're out there in the clubs studying prophecy, so that just in time, before everything winds up, they jump in. But there were others who were so fixated on prophecy that they were saying, don't invest in 3 years of education, because Jesus is going to come before then. And don't save up for these properties, because Jesus is going to come before then. Just put all your effort into door-to-door witnessing and soul winning. Now it is good to do door-to-door witnessing and soul winning. But as a result of that philosophy, some young people cancelled their degrees. Some who were in their degrees stopped and came out and did other things because they were sure that Jesus was going to come very soon. That was in 1982. Some of them wished they had continued and finished what they were doing, because they would have been more useful in the kingdom of God now had they been more established. Concerning developing businesses, there are a number of ways of developing businesses. And one of the best ways of developing a business is develop it in such a way that while it is growing, it is still producing a cash flow for you. So the type of business that gives you absolutely nothing for 20 years and then it comes in, that kind of speculative business could harm you, because if it fails, you've lost 20 years of your life. You need to develop businesses that generate income while they are growing. So if you develop a business or set a business that while it is growing, it is developing income, then that developing ongoing cash flow can be used to support the work of God while your business is growing. And as your business grows, that cash flow grows and your contribution to God's work continues to grow. So if you're focusing on the end time event, which is a good thing to do, don't get stuck in businesses that produce no output for many, 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 many years. Like, I'm going to buy these antiques because in 50 years they'll be worth a lot of money. And you just sit there, with all this money in your house, waiting for 50 years to pass, hoping that by then they'll be worth more money. Because they may get stolen in that period of time. Or 50 years' time, fashion may change and they may not be worth anything. And you've wasted 50 years waiting with nothing coming in the meantime. So if you're doing that kind of investment, you're wasting big sections of your life and limiting the possibility that you could have supported God's work. So I would say do businesses that produce money while they're growing, and focus that money on establishing the kingdom of God. And don't wait until you have a lot to support God's kingdom. Focus on supporting God's kingdom with the little that you have. And if God sees that you are faithful in the little that you have, He will expand your business, and your ability to give will increase. So you balance it. Don't wait until you earn to give. Start with what you have, and use businesses that develop cash flow as you go along. And avoid the businesses that produce nothing for a long, long period of time. Because those kind of businesses could you can have a great disappointment at the end of it, when what you were expecting to produce never happens, and in the meantime you have earned nothing and done nothing. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, there's a number of things I want to say. I'm going to try and say it in maybe 1 minute. Because you've actually expanded on the principle of leveraging. And the Bible actually tells us not to lay out treasures on earth where thieves and break-in and rots and everything happens as well. And yesterday when you spoke about the egg, I remember a gentleman, I don't know if you're familiar with Nevis, but there's an estate called Penny's. It was owned by a gentleman called Wally Wade. And my uncle knew him, they both passed now. But, they used to do shows and the parents would give them things. This gentleman, his parents gave him an egg. And instead of doing like the other boys would do, put 2 holes and just have his egg, he asked his mom, can I put my egg on your head? And he went on, and then he started having his own hens, and when he had enough, he started selling the eggs, and he would hide his pennies under a stone, and he went on and bought a goat. But his idea, he wanted to be a millionaire. He wanted to be rich, and he went on in that he actually did other things until he was able to buy the estate, and he was well. He achieved his goal, and family now. Basically after he died, the estate ran down, and they sold it as well too. And the reason why I talk about the principle of leveraging as well too, and because you talk about actually, even you're talking about your children, you have the money, but you don't use it because. And talking about the last day events as well. And you mentioned sharing. Our duty as well, when God blesses us with money, it's not necessary I shouldn't say necessary. He doesn't give us money just because He wants us to be different to the other person. There's something He sees in us, and He says, well, because you're a good steward, I'm going to entrust you with more, because you would be wise enough to actually pass it on. And that's our role. And this gentleman, as I was saying, because he laid up his treasures on earth, his family came, and the estate is no more. But because we know we have our duty towards God and towards our fellow men, our duty is to actually, because if I have £1,000 and I give it to the church, they're going to spend it maybe in a campaign. Next year there's another campaign. Where's the £1,000 going to come from? But if I use it wisely and I invest it, I can give them £1,000 this year, this football leverage. For the next 10, 20 years, my children, my grandchildren might say, okay, we'll do this, and they carry on because you did it wisely and the principles were taught.
That's right. Yes. So you can give bigger support with the same amount of money by investing it and growing it, and then supporting the work of God with the cash flow that it produces. So it's like saying, shall I support the church by giving them the seeds, or shall I plant the seeds and support the church by giving them the apples every year that the seeds will produce? So, yes.
For me, the only simple way is for us to pray, whether it pertains to business or life on earth.
Yes.
We need to pray for the Holy Spirit to lead us.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
Not everybody can be a businessman. It's the same thing as not everybody can be a nurse.
Yes.
Somebody needs to work for the nurse and
exactly.
But if the Holy Spirit leads you, God will channel you into the business that you're supposed to be in. If you're supposed to be a businessman or a woman.
That's right.
If you're not supposed to, you're supposed to work for somebody. Yeah. That's the way it works.
Yes, because we all can't do the same thing. Otherwise, we have nobody in between to facilitate.
But it gets a mindset as well, because I was educated in a Africa. In Africa, is you are told, son, go to school, get good grades, get a good job. It takes time for that to shift.
From being an employee to an employer.
Yeah, it shifts when you decide to say, no, I don't want to work for anybody. It shifts, but it takes time. But
yes.
That's how it is.
Yes, and concerning that scripture where it says, do not lay up your treasures on earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break in and steal away your treasure in, where treasure is, your heart is there also. There are two important things about that text. One is that the purpose of treasures is not to lay them up for yourself. You know, like, this is my security for my future. So I'm going to lay up more and more and more. And the more I have, the more secure I will feel. That is not the purpose for what wealth is. Our security should be in God. And as He passes things to us, they pass through us on their way to doing His work. And we are secure in Him. So, number one, the purpose of acquiring wealth is not to lay it up to provide more and more security for us. Because if we rely upon that, that security will fail us. Because the bank could crash that holds our money, or if we put it into gold coins and put it under our bed, the thief could come in and steal it, or we could lose it by some other way. So, storing up for security is not God's plan for our lives. Acquiring it for a purpose is different from storing it up and using it as security. And it says, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. You see, there's an important sentence there, where your treasure is. But if you realize that what you're holding is not yours, it's not mine anyway, it's God's. So it's not my treasure. I'm just holding it for Him, for His purpose, awaiting His instructions for what I need to do with it. And if you recognize that what you have belongs to God, and therefore you are awaiting His instructions what to do with it, even at such a time when God says, right, I want you to sell this house, or sell this car, or sell these assets, and put it all into my work, because I'm just about to come. So you will not need this anymore, so time to sell it. If you are already in communication with God, and if you already recognize that everything you have is His, not yours, then you will constantly await His instructions. What shall I do with your things? You know, like, think about it this way in conclusion. If you are holding money on behalf of somebody else, if someone says, look after this money for me, then you will never look at it as your money, because you're holding it for them. And I agree with you, you will contact the person who's you're holding the money for and say, what do you want me to do with your money? And if they say, okay, give some of it to such and buy such and such with it, you go and do that, and then there's some left. Then you still say, what do you want me to do with the money that is left? So if you recognize it is not yours, then the purpose for that money must come from the source of that money. And then God will be able to direct you. And whatever you accumulate, you will be able to use it to finish His work, whether in a big lump sum or in the regular cash flow process. So, final comment, then we have to write up, because I need to get
just because my friend here asked a comment about trading as well too. Yeah. And the question, the text as well, where your treasure is, there your heart is also. I found the opportunity a while back to have a tour of the CBT, the Chicago Board of Trade. And we got there early in the morning, about 7. And the governor, he took us around and showed us everything as well. And then it was about time for the gong, so we had to go on the floor to the back, to the service bar. And everything was fine. He was real pleasant. And then he actually, about 2-3 minutes before, he said, "Oh, let me warn you one thing, just to, because we were there, just most of the guys were between 17 to 25. He would say, he said, look, just be aware. Just one thing I must tell you. Don't be alarmed if you see them coming in and scoop someone off the floor. Because the guys that are working on the floor now, their money, that's what they were there for. You know, all it was about money. They either made money or their life wasn't worth anything. And lots of them would die from heart attacks and everything as well too. Just because, you know, they have their money. They had 5 million this morning, and because in 5 minutes it changed, it's gone to 0. Or they actually had someone, you know, they're responsible because they're holding 1,000 people's money, and then how do they go and face them as well? I think and that's what when we invest our money as well, we get to realize that the money is not our investment really. It's our future and it's our goal. So we got to get as you used the word balance before as well. So we got to balance everything right and put things into perspective.
Just quickly,
yes.
What you consider a foolish decision? For instance, yesterday you said to me that this woman had £900 and she gave it to you. Now a lot of people would say that was a foolish decision. She should have kept 2 for herself or 5 for herself and give you some. Now, this is where God comes in it, because the foolishness of man is a wisdom for God. So God could come and say to Job, I want you to sell your business and give it all to Cheryl. I'm just saying that, if you're going under God's guidance, sometimes He would guide you. He'd guide Abraham to leave where he was. He guided Lot to leave a city. So Lot must have been wealthy. So sometimes God says, I want you to leave where you are. I want you to leave your businesses and go and pastor. Yes. And if you follow God, your blessings will triple. So sometimes I get confused, because otherwise I could say, I want to be a millionaire. But if I purpose that in my mind, maybe God will fall to the side.
Right.
So I have to say, God, what do you want me to do?
Yes.
And I want your will. And I started to find out quickly that God's will for us, that we pray our Father's prayer in heaven as it is on earth.
Yes.
The same will He has for us in heaven, He wants to live it out on earth.
Yes.
And He doesn't want to live my will in what you think my will should be. He wants to live His will in me. So in everything we do and in business, let's say, God, what is your will? This is what I want, my desire. What is your will for me?
Yes. And finally, I like that point, and that is, there's a difference between a worldly millionaire and a godly millionaire. And the simple difference is this. The worldly millionaire will say, this £1,000,000 is mine. The godly millionaire will say, I am responsible to God for how I use this £1,000,000. And I need to seek His instructions as to what He wants me to do with the £1,000,000 that He has trusted me with. And the difference makes a whole different direction. Because if you believe it's yours, my money, then you think you can spend it as you want. But if you recognize you're holding this money on God's behalf, then you have to spend it according to His instructions, because it's not yours. And if that basic shift is in your mind, that it's not mine, I'm just holding it, awaiting God's instructions, then God can use you. When God says, come out and go to a place where I will show you, you will go. Because your security is not in the money, but in the God, because it's His money. And like Lot, you'll be able to walk out of the city. But if your security is in the city, you'll turn back and look, because you won't be able to leave what was secure for you. So, yes.
I'd just like to, sorry to interrupt, but I'd just like to thank Pastor very much for the wonderful information that he has shared with us, which has been very insightful, very practical. And if I were to ask you for just one word to describe what we received since Friday evening, I know you'll have many kind of good compliments to give, not just from a theoretical experience, appreciation, but hopefully we've picked up some tips that we can also put into practice. We can change our position now, both in the sense on a daily basis and spiritually. So Pastor, we thank you ever so much for taking the time to share all this information with us. And I believe the brethren will put it to good use.
Thank you.
I know we're struggling to come to an end, but we have to, because to give him a chance to rest, and also there's another program going on at 1:30.
Yes. I have an appointment in Birmingham next week.
There you are. So we look forward to maybe a future time when you might be able to come and share more nuggets with us. There is some refreshment prepared for us over in the side room. So when Pastor, when you pray for the closing prayer, if you would thank God for this as well.
Okay. Let us stand for prayer. Loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of knowledge and for knowing that we have a partner, and you are our partner, and you are the owner Thank you for trusting us with what belongs to you. And I pray that we will always be open to your Spirit, so that we will follow your instructions according to how you want us to use your resources. And help us to remember and never forget that nothing is ours. Everything is yours. And all we are doing is using your resources for a period of time to do your will. Help us to work with that motivation so that we will always be open to your voice and your instructions. Bless us as we eat together and keep us safe until we meet again. We pray in Jesus' name.